Hey, I'm really glad you're here. Whatever today looked like, it's over now. You've done enough. Get comfortable. Let your body sink into the bed. Let your jaw unclench. Let your breathing slow down. There's nothing you need to follow closely, nothing to figure out. You don't have to stay awake for this. Just let the sound of my voice fade into the background. And if you fall asleep halfway through a story, that's exactly what this is for. I'll keep reading. You just rest. All right, let's begin. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Tonight we're doing something a little different, but still very much in our cozy late night lane. I'm settling into my quiet little Minecraft world again, but instead of pro-revenge, we're going to wander through some absolutely unhinged relationship confessions from Reddit while I help you drift off to sleep. I know. Relationship chaos doesn't exactly scream bedtime, but hear me out. There's something strangely calming about listening to other people's drama from a safe distance, especially when you're tucked in. The room is dim, and you've got that warm, fuzzy feeling of justice being served from the comfort of your own bed. Think of it like emotional fireworks in the distance. You can see the sparks, but you don't feel the heat. On screen, everything is going to stay slow and simple. No wild music, no surprise creeper jump scares, no frantic fights. Just soft footsteps through an empty village, a bit of mining in a quiet cave, maybe expanding a tiny apartment-style base one block at a time. The idea is that the Minecraft is pure visual white noise for your brain, something gentle to glance at between blinks as your eyes get heavier. This is a long one, by the way. We're together for a full 3-hour stretch of confessions, story time, and cozy chaos. So if you're the kind of person who likes something to just keep playing while you change positions, adjust your pillow, or wake up at 3 a.m. and drift back under, you're in the right place. You don't have to keep track of every detail. The stories will just keep flowing in the background, like a very messy lullaby. Tonight's lineup is intense, but in that oddly satisfying way. We've got partners revealing secret debts years into the relationship, in-laws turning weddings into power plays, people quietly tracking locations or snooping phones, and yes, a few petty revenge moments where karma really does come full circle. It's the kind of thing you'd never want happening in your own life, but listening to it from a safe, cozy distance, weirdly relaxing. So go ahead and grab your favorite blanket, dim the lights, maybe put your phone face down so the bright screen doesn't yank you out of that sleepy headspace. Let the soft Minecraft sounds, little pickaxe taps, door clicks, the low hum of the night, blend with these stories until they just become background vibrations in your mind. Whether you're here every night or this is your first time stumbling in, this is your little pocket of cozy chaos on the internet. Get comfortable, settle into whatever position feels best, and when you're ready, let's dive into our first confession of the night. Why unhinged confessions actually help you sleep now? If you're lying there thinking, why am I listening to people confess to cheating, secret debts, and double lives right before bed? You are not alone. On paper, this sounds less like a sleep aid and more like emotional caffeine. It's like saying, to relax tonight, I'm going to listen to a guy find out his perfect wife has a second husband in another state. Very normal bedtime activity. But here's the weird thing. These unhinged confessions can actually help you drift off to sleep. Relationship chaos, when it's happening to someone else, turns into this strangely soothing background drama. You're not in the argument. You're not the one opening the mail and discovering a mountain of secret credit card debt. You're just cozy. listening to the plot unfold from a safe distance while the Minecraft world quietly hums along. A lot of these stories are emotionally satisfying in a way real life usually isn't. People finally see red flags clearly. They set boundaries with a nightmare in-laws who try to hijack weddings and baby announcements. They walk away from partners who track their location for a year, or who invite their ex to the wedding and seat them at the family table. It's messy, but there's this warm, fuzzy feeling of justice being served when someone goes, "You know what? No more," and actually follows through. That's where the cozy part sneaks in. You get the payoff without having to live through the panic. You hear about cheaters getting exposed, controlling parents being told to stay out of the apartment, secret debts dragged into the light, and you don't have to send a single text or have a single awkward conversation. You just listen as karma really does come full circle, and your own life starts to feel a lot calmer by comparison. There's also that safe distance effect. These are strangers on Reddit. You don't have to fix them. You don't have to pick a side perfectly. If you drift off halfway through the story, where the fiancé demands her disabled sister stay home from the wedding, it's okay. No one in the story is waiting on your reply. Your only job is to be comfortable. And honestly, some of these confessions are probably real. Some are exaggerated, and some are pure creative writing with extra drama sprinkled on top. We're not here to run background checks or verify every ex's TikTok. We're here for narrative satisfaction, so you can let go of fact check mode, relax your brain a little, and just let the stories play out like a late night audio movie. So, welcome back to the channel if you're a regular. And if you're new, grab your favorite blanket, adjust your pillow, maybe shift to that side you always end up on anyway. You don't have to catch every detail. You can let the words blur at the edges, the Minecraft music, the soft little sound of pickaxe taps, and these unhinged confessions are just gonna swirl together and keep you company as we dive into the next story of the night. How these stories were picked, so you don't have to scroll. So while you're getting cozy and letting the Minecraft music blur into background noise, I'll make you a promise. I already did the unhinged scrolling for you. I went elbow deep into r/relationship_advice, r/true off my chest, r/am I the asshole, and a few chaotic cousins, so you don't have to squint at your phone at 2 a.m. I wasn't just grabbing whatever had the most upvotes. I was looking for stories that actually go somewhere. The ones where you start with, "Okay, that's a little weird," and end with, "Wait, he had a second husband in another state?" I wanted shocking reveals, escalating tension, and a clear turning point, so even if you're half asleep, your brain can still follow the arc without working too hard. Some of these confessions are loud and wild. Cheaters juggling secret families, nightmare in-laws sabotaging weddings and baby announcements, partners snooping through phones and tracking locations for a year, only to be stunned by what they find. Others are quiet, but deeply unsettling, like someone slowly realizing their partner is quietly quitting the relationship or staying purely for money. That mix keeps the night from feeling like one long screaming party in the worst apartment building on earth. I also paid attention to emotional payoff. Not every story has the warm, fuzzy feeling of justice being served, but each one lands somewhere. Maybe the couple breaks up. Maybe someone finally sets a boundary with an overbearing mom who wants to move into their bed, literally. Or maybe the villain admits what they did in a way that's messy and morally gray. Psychologists say people often confess when they're about to be exposed, not from pure guilt, and you'll hear that pattern pop up again and again. Because this is meant to help you drift off to sleep, the pacing is on purpose. We're going to start with milder chaos, financial secrets, weird texts, slightly off in-law behavior, and then slowly turn the dial toward the nuclear stuff, secret engagements, double lives, public confrontations. Think of it like walking down a gentle slope instead of being dropped into a pit of emotional lava. Quick pattern interrupt before your brain fully melts into the pillow. At any point, you're allowed to bail on a story. You can drift off mid-sentence, miss the reveal about the hidden kid or the second apartment, and that's completely fine. The video will keep playing, the blocky little world will keep mining away, and when you wake up, karma really does come full circle, whether you heard every detail or not. Between stories, I'll give you soft resets, small pauses, a breath, maybe a quiet comment to remind you you're safe, comfortable, and not actually trapped at someone else's disastrous family dinner. No jump scares, no sudden volume spikes, just a steady stream of cozy chaos as we gently slide into the next confession of the night. From cozy to curious, easing into our first confession. So now that you know how the night's gonna flow, let's gently shift gears a little. We've had our soft reset, you're safe, you're not actually at that disastrous family dinner, and the Minecraft world is just quietly doing its thing in the background. The music is low, the colors are soft, and all you really have to do is breathe and listen, or not listen. Either way, you're good. So, let's get into our first confession. This one starts out cozy. Picture a couple who look perfect from the outside. Shared apartment, shared Netflix account, shared future plans. Friends joke that they're relationship goals. The kind of partner who remembers your coffee order, texts goodnight every single night, and never misses a birthday or an anniversary. It's the kind of story where at first you almost get that warm, fuzzy feeling of justice being served because you think, wow, someone actually found a decent human being. And then the cracks start to show. Our storyteller begins to notice little things that don't quite add up. Extra work trips, oddly specific excuses, a phone that always seems to be on silent, face down, just out of reach on the kitchen counter, nothing loud, no dramatic party or slammed doors, just these tiny vibrations of wrongness running under the surface of an otherwise comfortable life. What they don't know yet is that their perfect partner isn't just hiding a bad habit or a secret credit card. They're running a second life, in another state, with another home, another routine, and yes, a whole hidden family woven neatly into the gaps of those business trips and late nights. It's one of the most extreme forms of betrayal you can have in a relationship. Not just cheating, but duplicating yourself and hoping no one compares notes. Psychologists who study this kind of thing point out that big, sudden confessions usually don't appear out of pure guilt. They tend to land when someone feels the walls closing in, when they're afraid the truth is about to expose itself without their control. It's less, I've decided to be honest, and more, I'd better get ahead of this before karma really does come full circle. And in this story, you can almost hear that moment click, like a door finally unlocking after years of being quietly jammed. As we follow this first confession, we're going to drift through the discovery, the confrontation, and the quiet, almost surgical kind of revenge that comes from finally knowing the whole picture. But remember, you don't have to stay awake for every twist. You can grab your favorite blanket, let your eyes get heavy, and just let the story move around you while you drift off to sleep. I'll keep reading. The Minecraft world will keep ticking along, and this double life will slowly unravel, whether you're hanging on every word or already halfway to dreaming. The perfect wife with a secret husband. Double life revealed. So while you're getting comfortable and letting the Minecraft music hum in the background, let's dive into the part where my perfect wife turned out to have a whole bonus husband in another state. I know, it sounds like bad TV, but this was my actual life, in my actual apartment, with a woman I genuinely thought I knew. From my point of view, our marriage was solid. 7 years together, 4 married. We had our cozy routines. Friday night takeout, sleepy weekend mornings. Her humming along to whatever music was playing while she watered the plants. She took work trips every few weeks, always to the same region. Conferences, client visits, late flights. I'd kiss her goodbye at the airport, watch her disappear into security, and tell myself this was just what successful people did. There were red flags if you turned the brightness up after the fact. She never wanted to FaceTime from the hotel, just calls. Her co-worker Mark, who somehow never appeared in any tagged photos, a weird insistence that we keep our finances mostly separate because joint accounts kill the romance. At the time, I swallowed it. Studies say financial infidelity hits like cheating, but I didn't know that yet. The crack in the glass started with something painfully mundane. Mail. One quiet night, I came home to a stack of envelopes on the counter. She'd already left for a 3-day training. Mixed in with the usual bills was a glossy wedding invitation addressed to her maiden name and a last name I didn't recognize. Same first name, different last name, different state. The return address caught my eye. It was a town I knew she traveled to all the time. Curiosity is a terrible sleep aid. I googled the couple's names, thinking maybe it was an old college friend. Instead, I found their wedding website, and in the photo banner at the top, like some surreal jump scare, was my wife, standing between them in a picture, wearing a bridesmaid dress I'd never seen, at a venue she'd never mentioned. That should have been enough, but my brain wanted proof. I did a reverse search on the return address, then public records for that town. It was like pulling a loose thread. Her name popped up on a property record. Same first name, same birthday, different last name. Listed as the spouse of a man I'd never heard of. One more search, and there it was. A wedding registry from 5 years ago. Her face. His name. Towels we did not own. Confronting her felt like stepping into someone else's story. She came back from her trip, rolling her suitcase in like nothing was wrong. I waited until we were both sitting on the couch, that same comfortable groove in the cushions, and slid my phone over with the registry pulled up. For a second, she went completely still. No blinking, no breathing, just buffering. The excuses came in waves. It was complicated. They'd grown apart. It was basically over. She was going to tell me. Each phrase was technically shaped like English, but none of it landed. When I asked very calmly if she was still legally married to him, she hesitated just half a beat too long. That half second was the moment my own marriage snapped in half. The worst part wasn't even the cheating. It was realizing I'd been the side life, the Tuesday through Thursday husband. All those work trips were actually her bouncing between two realities, switching rings in rental car mirrors. While I was folding laundry and trying to help her sleep better, she was flying out to anniversaries I didn't know existed. I didn't scream. I didn't throw anything. I went cold. That night, after she fell into an anxious, shallow sleep, I got up, opened my laptop, and started quietly downloading bank statements and messages. Not for revenge in some dramatic movie way, but for survival, for a clean divorce, for the other man who I was starting to realize probably had no idea I existed either. By the end of the week, I'd talked to a lawyer, moved some essentials to a friend's place, and drafted a message to husband number 2 with screenshots attached. My finger hovered over send for a long time, because once I hit it, both of our lives would crack open for good. And the thing about double lives is, when you finally shine a light on them, you never really know which roaches are going to scatter first. Micro reset, reality check, and red flag reflection. And the thing about double lives is, when you finally shine a light on them, you never really know which roaches are going to scatter first. So, take a second with me here. That whole situation feels like something out of a late night drama, not a real person's apartment, right? Hidden addresses, extra spouses, secret logistics. It's surreal enough that your brain almost wants to file it under fiction just to stay comfortable. If you're lying there with your eyes half closed thinking, there's no way people actually live like this, you're not alone. But this is where we do a tiny micro reset. Nothing intense, just a soft reality check before we dive into the next wave of unhinged relationship chaos. Because underneath the wild twists, there were some very quiet red flags. The kind that don't come with loud music or obvious drama. Things like those frequent unexplained trips that never quite added up. The way certain weekends were always too busy to video chat. Or how questions about addresses, paperwork, or finances somehow slid off the conversation like oil on water. Those are the little moments our brains love to smooth over. You get told, "Oh, it's just work," or "You know how my family is," and because you care about this person, you want that to be enough. You want the night to stay cozy and simple. And sometimes it really is nothing, but sometimes those tiny missing details are the whole story. Here's the slightly less cozy part. Research on relationships actually backs this up. Studies show that financial infidelity, things like hidden accounts, secret debt, or undisclosed addresses, can hit trust just as hard as emotional cheating. Not because of the numbers themselves, but because of what the secrecy says. If someone can build an entire shadow world around money or logistics, your nervous system doesn't really care whether they technically cheated or not. It just hears, "I am not safe to believe you." So as you're settling in, maybe you mentally tag what we just heard. For you, is that level of secrecy a yellow flag, a big red flag, or an instant deal breaker? There's no quiz, no right answer, just a quiet little label you can tuck away. If you feel like sharing in the comments tomorrow, you can. If you'd rather just let it float by like a weird dream, that's fine too. Meanwhile, the Minecraft is still looping calmly in the background. Same soft colors, same gentle little blocky vibrations as I wander around and build absolutely unnecessary things in this tiny digital world. If your eyes are already heavy, you're zoning in and out of the stories. That's exactly how this is supposed to work. You can let the details blur and just follow the rhythm of my voice. And when you're ready, grab your favorite blanket a little closer, get comfortable, and let's dive into the next confession. Because karma really does come full circle, even when everyone's pretending everything is perfectly normal. Hidden debts and secret credit cards, when money becomes betrayal. So you're cozy, the Minecraft music is humming in the background, and on the surface, everything in these stories looks fine. Bills are paid, lights are on, date nights still happen. That's exactly where this next confession starts. with someone who honestly thought their partner was just a little bad with money. OP says for years, it was small stuff. A late payment here, a stress joke about, "My card hates me," there. Their partner would sigh about work being rough, about adulting being hard, and you know how that goes. You shrug it off, you assume it's just normal life pressure, not a full-on financial horror story waiting under the bed. They weren't throwing wild parties, the apartment was quiet at night. Nothing looked chaotic from the outside. Then one afternoon, OP is sorting mail at the kitchen table. Cozy domestic moment, right? A letter shows up with their partner's name, a bank logo they don't recognize, and a very bold "Final Notice" stamped on the front. They open it without thinking, assuming it's some boring statement. Instead, they're staring at a number that doesn't even look real. Tens of thousands of dollars. A secret credit card. Months past due. And right below that, both of their names listed on a potential legal action notice. It hits like those in-game cave sounds that come out of nowhere. Your stomach drops, your ears ring. The room feels smaller. OP describes this weird double feeling. Their body goes cold, but their brain is racing. If this is here, what else is out there? What does this mean for the house they were saving for? The kids they'd talked about? The quiet little future they thought they were building together? The fear shows up first. Is my credit ruined? Can we lose our apartment? Then the anger starts to simmer, because this isn't just about numbers on a page. It's the realization that someone had been making decisions with your name, your stability, and your future without your consent. Studies say financial infidelity hits like emotional cheating, and you can feel that in every line of OP's post. When they confront their partner, it's like opening a chest and realizing it's actually a trap. At first, the partner insists it's a one-time thing, just a small card that got away from them. But OP has the statement in hand. Multiple cash advances, online gambling sites, luxury shopping that never showed up in their home, payments to a family member in crisis that OP has never heard of. Every transaction is another tiny lie that now has a timestamp. The justifications pile up. I didn't want to stress you. I thought I could fix it before you noticed. You're so good with money. I was embarrassed. And underneath all of that, OP hears the real truth. I knew this would hurt you, and I did it anyway. That warm, fuzzy feeling of justice being served? Yeah, it's not here yet. This is the part of the story where you're just sitting in the quiet, listening to the emotional vibrations of betrayal. So OP draws a line. They separate finances immediately. No more shared cards, no more mystery accounts. They insist on full transparency, credit reports, login access, a budget laid out in plain language. And when the partner resists, when the apologies stay words and never become actions, OP does the one thing they never thought they'd do over just money. They leave. They walk away from the shared apartment, from the future plans, from the person who treated their trust like a credit limit to be maxed out. It's not dramatic revenge with glitter bombs, but it's its own kind of justice. Because sometimes karma really does come full circle in the quietest way possible. You lose access to the life you were taking for granted. And as you settle in deeper, welcome back to the channel energy still wrapping around you like a blanket. Let's dive into the next confession, where the secrets aren't on a credit report. They're sitting across the dinner table, smiling like nothing's wrong. When confession comes too late, the guilt dump before the wedding. So imagine this. You're finally exhaling. The venue's booked, the playlist is picked, the relatives have been sorted into safe to seat together, and absolutely not. You're in that cozy, exhausted space where the stress feels normal, like background music at the end of a long party. You think the only surprises left are which cousin will get too drunk on the night. OP is in that exact place, weeks away from the wedding. They're scrolling registry items on the couch, half watching Minecraft builds on TV to help you drift off to sleep, when their fiance comes in and does that weird hover. You know the one. Not sitting, not standing, just vibrating in the doorway like their whole apartment is suddenly too small. "Can we talk?" he says, at 11:47 p.m. on a Tuesday. Nothing good has ever started with this sentence at that time of night. He sits, finally, and starts with, "I didn't want to ruin anything." Then out spills the confession he's apparently been sleeping beside for years. Depending on which version of this story you're reading, it's past cheating that didn't mean anything, or a secret kid from a break he never mentioned, or a criminal record that somehow never came up during all those cozy, late-night life-planning conversations. In one of the wildest posts, it's an entire still-active engagement in another state that he thought was basically over. Basically. Psychologists actually talk about this. Those sudden, dramatic confessions, they're usually not pure moral awakening. They happen when people are afraid the truth is about to leak anyway. An ex pops up, a TikTok goes viral from a familiar-looking apartment, a background check for the lease hits the system, or some paperwork with the wrong last name is about to land in the mailbox. The guilt has been there, sure, but the timing? That's fear of exposure putting on a conscience costume. OP describes this surreal double vision. On one hand, there's the person they love, sitting on their couch, looking small and scared. On the other hand, there's the realization that this same person has been capable of running a full double life while helping pick napkin colors. All the sunk costs line up in OP's head like a spreadsheet they never wanted. Deposits, dresses, flights, Aunt Linda's non-refundable hotel, the DJ who will absolutely still charge full price. And underneath all that money and planning is the quieter, more painful math. If they lied about this, what else is under the floorboards? This is where the revenge fantasies and the reality of sleep deprivation collide. OP lies awake that night, staring at the ceiling, hearing the soft vibrations of the fridge, thinking about how forever suddenly feels like a trapdoor. Do they call everything off and become the villain in half their family's stories? Do they postpone and become the dramatic one? Or do they walk down the aisle anyway, smile for the photos, and start quietly planning an exit once the last song fades? Because sometimes karma really does come full circle, but only if you're willing to open the door and step through it. And in our next confession, that door isn't to a wedding venue at all. It's to a guest room where someone very unexpected is already sleeping in the bed. Soft drift reminder and comment game. Red flag or deal breaker. To a guest room where someone very unexpected is already sleeping in the bed. Before we tiptoe in there, this is your gentle reminder that it is completely okay if your brain is starting to blur the edges a little. If you're half listening, half watching the Minecraft world glide by, or you've already forgotten who was cheating on who 3 stories ago, that's not a problem. That's literally the point. This whole thing is here to just sit in the corner of your night like a cozy, low-effort friend and help you drift off to sleep without you needing to keep track of every twist. So if your eyes are heavy, let them be heavy. If you miss a detail or a whole confession, or you wake up tomorrow and only remember something about an apartment, a party, and some very suspicious vibrations in the walls, that's totally fine. You can always come back another night, or just let these stories turn into soft background noise that your brain doesn't have to work hard to follow. For those of you who are somehow still awake, still alert, maybe even sitting up in bed with your phone way closer to your face than is comfortable, I've got a little game for you. Nothing intense, nothing that will wake you up more. After each story, just quietly decide in your head, was that a red flag or a full deal breaker? Not, is this legal? Not, what would Reddit say? Just your own sleepy gut check. Your partner hides secret debt for years and you find out from a collection notice? Red flag or deal breaker? Their mom demands a key to your place and starts rearranging your furniture while you're at work? Red flag or deal breaker? You don't have to type anything right now. Seriously, don't stress your thumbs. But if you remember in the morning, you can drop 1 or 2 of your favorite verdicts in the comments. I love seeing how different everyone's lines are. And if you're thinking, I've already lost the plot of the last 3 stories, that's okay too. There is zero pressure to keep up. These aren't exams. They're bedtime stories with a little warm, fuzzy feeling of justice being served sprinkled on top. You can re-listen another night, you can skip around, or you can just let the music, the Minecraft, and the voices blend together into one long, cozy hush. Before we wander from secret-keeping partners into the truly chaotic realm of in-laws and family drama, take a second with me. Unclench your jaw. Drop your shoulders away from your ears. If you're in bed or on the couch, wiggle a little, adjust your pillow, grab your favorite blanket, and let your body sink just a bit deeper into wherever you are. Big, slow breath in and out, because we're about to meet the people who can turn a holiday dinner into a battlefield, a baby announcement into a power struggle, and a wedding into someone else's revenge fantasy. Welcome back to the channel, by the way. Let's dive into the part where karma really does come full circle, and sometimes it's wearing a world's best mom mug. The fiancé who banned a disabled sister from the wedding. So we've floated through the moms with world's best mugs and knives behind their backs. And now we're sinking into one of those stories that hits a little closer to the heart. The kind where you can almost feel the music at the wedding, see the fairy lights, and then, like a record scratch in the middle of the party, someone shows you who they really are. OP starts off in that cozy, hopeful place, engaged to the love of their life, pinning color palettes, picking songs, imagining that slow walk down the aisle. And right beside all of that, there's their sister. She's disabled, uses a wheelchair, and has basically been OP's built-in best friend and support system since childhood. Hospital nights, scary diagnoses, quiet evenings in their tiny apartment watching Minecraft videos to help her sleep. She's been there for all of it. In OP's mind, there's no wedding without her. Then one afternoon, in what's supposed to be a fun planning session, the fiancé clears their throat and says they have a tiny request. You already know that phrase never introduces anything tiny. They don't want OP's sister at the wedding, not because of travel or access or medical needs. No, because she might draw attention, might make guests uncomfortable, might ruin the aesthetic in the photos. That's the moment where OP's brain kind of pauses. At first they think they misheard. They even ask very calmly if this is about logistics, ramps, seating, timing, but the fiancé keeps talking and every sentence is about image. The curated Instagram grid, the elegant, minimal ceremony, the clean lines of the wedding party. You can almost hear the soft Minecraft music in the background, while OP realizes this isn't a planning detail, It's a value system. OP goes from disbelief to this slow burn anger because this sister they've pushed through crowded concerts with, the one who cheered them on at graduations from the back row, is suddenly being treated like a prop that doesn't match the decor. When OP pushes back, the fiancé doubles down. Their family chimes in too, in that polite, poisonous way. Maybe the sister could just come to the after party or watch a live stream from home. Think of the vibe. Think of the photos. Think of how comfortable everyone else will be. Now OP feels the line being drawn. Pick the partner or the sister. And it's wild because research says couples who set boundaries with in-laws early tend to do better long term. But here the very first boundary is, don't erase my family. That's not a small thing. That's the whole foundation. So OP does something that shocks the room more than any wheelchair ever could. They close the planning binder, stand up, and say very quietly that if their sister isn't welcome, they aren't either. They walk out of the venue, past the sample centerpieces and the mood boards, and start mentally drafting an exit plan instead of a seating chart. And as they sit alone that night in their comfortable little apartment, they realize this might be the moment karma really does come full circle. Not with a loud revenge, but with the simple choice not to marry someone who treats their sister like a flaw to be edited out. Of course, not every breakup gets that clean, quiet ending. Sometimes people don't walk away. They dig in, snoop, and discover just how deep the rot really goes. Grab your favorite blanket, because the next confession starts with a locked phone, a late-night work trip, and the kind of discovery that keeps you up long after you meant to drift off to sleep. A monster-in-law moves in and into their bed. So that last one was about secrets hiding in a locked phone. This next confession, the red flags weren't on a screen. They were walking around the apartment in slippers and a silk robe. And if you've ever had in-law drama, this one might feel a little too close to home. Welcome back to the channel, and let's dive into the story OP titled, very calmly, "My boyfriend's mom moved in, and now I feel like the other woman." Cozy, right? OP starts by saying she's not a monster. His mom had just gone through a brutal divorce and a sudden job loss all in the same month. Money gone, confidence shattered, late night crying on the phone. He asked if she could stay, just for a few weeks, until she got back on her feet. OP works from home. They had a spare room, and it was winter, so she swallowed her hesitation, told herself this was the kind thing to do, and tried to make the place as comfortable as possible. Week 1 was fine. They cooked together, watched some light TV at night, and OP even thought, okay, this might be nice. By week 2, the vibration started. Not literal, like bass through the ceiling, but the subtle, unsettling sense of someone rearranging your life an inch at a time. OP came out one morning, and every cabinet in the kitchen was different. Plates moved, spices organized, her coffee mug collection boxed up because it looked cluttered. Mom-in-law laughed it off, saying, "I've just made it more efficient for you." When OP gently pushed back, boyfriend said, "She's just trying to help. Don't make it a big deal." From there, boundaries slid like sand. Mom started commenting on OP's routines, why she napped after work, how late she slept on her days off, what she ate. She'd insert herself into private conversations, answering questions directed at OP, giving opinions on their finances, even suggesting they should rethink OP's music hobby because it's not really a stable plan for the future. Then came the bed. The boyfriend worked occasional overnight shifts. One night, OP wakes up at 2 a.m. and feels the mattress dip. She turns over, half asleep, and his mom is lying on top of the covers on his side of the bed, watching TV on her phone like this is a slumber party. OP freaks out, understandably, and MIL says, "Oh, honey, I just hate sleeping alone. I used to lie next to him when he was little. It helps me sleep." Boyfriend's reaction the next morning: "She's going through a hard time. Don't be rude." It escalates. Movie nights on the couch turn into mom insisting she sit between them, arms looped through his. OP on the far end like an extra. If OP tried to sit next to her own partner, mom would joke, "Don't steal my cuddle buddy," and he would just laugh. OP tries to set boundaries. No more bed. Knock before entering rooms. Please stop commenting on my body and my schedule. Every time she's told she's overreacting, that she's making his mom feel unwelcome in her own son's home. Notice the wording there. One night, OP comes home late and finds mom fully under the covers in their bed, wearing his old t-shirt, hugging his pillow while he's at work. That was the click. The moment the cozy illusion shattered. OP quietly starts packing a bag, lining up a sublet, and planning a solo exit. And the wild part is, the boyfriend still doesn't see the problem, until OP leaves a note that forces him to choose. We'll get to what that note said, and how karma really does come full circle, right after a confession where the other woman isn't a person at all. It's a bank account. Holiday hostage, when in-laws turn Christmas into a battleground. So while that boyfriend is staring at a handwritten ultimatum and a half-empty apartment, this next OP is realizing their real competition isn't another partner or a bank account. It's Christmas. Specifically, Christmas at his parents' house. OP and his wife thought they were being reasonable. First year of marriage, they sit down with hot chocolate, a shared Google Calendar, and this cozy little dream of splitting holidays fairly. Thanksgiving with her family one year, his the next. Christmas Eve here, Christmas morning there. You know, adult stuff. Grown up, balanced, we're a team now, vibes. His parents heard the plan and basically said, "That's adorable, no." At first it was subtle. A sigh on the phone when he mentioned they'd be spending Christmas with her side that year. A quiet, "Well, I guess we'll just be alone then," followed by a long silence and a sniffle. But as soon as he actually booked flights to her hometown, the cozy illusion shattered. His mom suddenly had chest pains. His dad texted, "If you're not here for Christmas, don't bother coming next year at all." Emotional blackmail wrapped in tinsel. Every attempt to alternate holidays turned into this bizarre guilt trip bingo card. Crying phone calls late at night. Dramatic, "I never thought my own son would abandon me." Health scares that, funny enough, always lined up perfectly with their travel dates. OP even noticed that the minute they'd cancel a trip, mom's symptoms would magically improve. Almost like stress wasn't the real issue. Then came the truly unhinged Christmas. They'd drawn a hard line. Christmas Day with her family, New Year's with his. Tickets booked, gifts wrapped, everyone comfortable. They wake up at her parents' place to the smell of breakfast, soft music, that sleepy holiday feeling. And then there's a knock on the door. It's his parents. On the porch, 4 states away from home. No warning, no, "Hey, we're in town." Just surprise in-laws at 8 a.m., complaining about the drive before they're even inside. They immediately start criticizing the decorations, the food, the size of the apartment her parents are in. At dinner, his mom stands up, glass in hand, and gives this teary speech about how some people don't respect family anymore, and how OP stole our only son in front of her entire family on Christmas. That night, Lying in a guest bed, staring at the ceiling fan, OP finally whispers, "Whose side are we on?" Because right now, it doesn't feel like ours. It's one of those quiet, middle-of-the-night conversations where you realize research is right. Couples who set boundaries with in-laws early are way happier later. They talk about patterns, about how every holiday turns into a hostage situation, about how they're both losing sleep, and that warm, fuzzy feeling of justice being served by, peaceful togetherness. Pattern interrupt. The next year, they don't go anywhere. They tell both families calmly that they're spending Christmas alone. No surprise arrivals, no guilt trips, phones on Do Not Disturb, Minecraft on the TV like cozy background snow. Just the two of them and some quiet revenge against the chaos. It's not loud, it's not dramatic, but it's a boundary that permanently changes the family dynamic. And if you've ever wondered what happens when in-laws can't handle those new rules, grab your favorite blanket, because the next confession is what happens when a mother-in-law tries to literally move into the marriage. Soft reset. Would you marry someone with a nightmare family? So after that mother-in-law trying to move into the marriage like it's a spare bedroom, let's take a tiny breath together. In-law stories can feel weirdly exhausting. Even when you're just listening, your brain starts pulling up old holiday fights, that one comment at dinner, the way someone joked about your life choices, and it did not feel like a joke. If that's happening for you right now, you're not alone. A lot of people listening have had their own Christmas chaos, wedding drama, or those quiet boundary battles that stretch over years. Research even says couples who set clear in-law boundaries early report higher long-term satisfaction, which sounds nice on paper, until you remember those boundaries usually get tested at full volume over turkey and mashed potatoes. So, here's the gentle, research-flavored question I want to float out there for you tonight. Would you stay with someone who treats you really well, makes you feel safe and seen, but has a family that constantly disrespects you? Not just one awkward comment, but a pattern. Snooping your phone by accident, pushing past your no kids at the wedding rule, making fun of your job every time they visit the apartment. Where would your line be? Is it, we go low contact and keep our peace? Or, if they can't be civil, I'm out. Studies on relationships say chronic disrespect from a partner's family can erode trust almost like cheating does, because it forces you to wonder whose side they're really on. But in the middle of the night, with Minecraft blocks slowly stacking on screen, this doesn't have to be a decision. It can just be a thought experiment you let drift around your mind. You don't have to answer it right now. You can just let the question float somewhere above your bed, like one of those little Minecraft clouds. Maybe you'll wake up with an answer, maybe you won't. That's okay. The whole point of this video is to help you drift off to sleep, not to give you homework. So, welcome back to the channel if you've been here before. And if you're new, just notice what's happening on screen for a second. Slow movements, soft colors, no loud music, no party next door. Just a cozy little world where the only vibrations are from my character gently mining through stone. Right now, you are tucked in a separate space from all that chaos. The mother-in-law who wants a key, the cousin who overshares, the partner who still hasn't told their parents you exist. Out there, people are hiding secret debts, running emotional affairs in DMs, and making fake accounts to stalk exes. In here, it's just you, me, and these quiet stories. And when you're ready, let's dive into the next cluster of confessions, where those boundaries don't just get pushed, they get trampled. Snooping, secret profiles, emotional cheating, and a few moments where karma really does come full circle. The phone snooper who found more than she wanted to. So grab your favorite blanket and settle in, because this one lives right in that uncomfortable space between I was right and I definitely crossed a line. Our storyteller starts off like a lot of people you see on those relationship subs. Not with a smoking gun, just with a steady drip of weirdness that keeps them from fully relaxing. They've been with their partner for 3 years. Things used to feel easy and cozy. Phones face up on the couch, late night music in the background. Both of them scrolling dumb memes and passing the screen back and forth. But over the last few months, the vibe shifts. The phone starts living face down. Notifications go from cheerful pings to silent vibrations. There are late night work messages that somehow only happen when OP isn't in the apartment. Nothing big enough to prove anything, but enough that their brain won't let it go when they're trying to sleep. OP tries to be reasonable. They remind themselves that privacy matters, that not every buzz is a secret affair. They even bring it up once. You seem really glued to your phone lately. Everything okay? Partner laughs it off, says work is chaos, hugs them a little too quickly, and changes the subject. That answer feels prepackaged, like something you say when you've rehearsed it. Then one night, karma really does come full circle in the most mundane way. They're watching a show together. Partner dozes off halfway through, phone in hand. It slips, lands on OP's thigh, and the screen lights up. No lock screen, no Face ID, just open, waiting. And right on top, a notification from an app OP has never seen before, with a preview that reads, "Can't wait to see you again. Ano para?" OP freezes. They know this is the line. They know that once they cross it, they can't uncross it. But this is also the same gut feeling that's been humming in the background for months. So they tap. What they find isn't one flirty message. It's an entire second life. There's a dating profile with their partner's face, a different name, and a relationship status set to single, just looking for fun. There are threads with multiple people, overlapping timelines, a few references to my place that sure sound like their shared apartment. On another app, there's a private Instagram full of gym selfies and thirst traps that have never once appeared on the account OP knows. And here's the part that really twists the knife. Some of those messages are timestamped right after big fights, where OP had cried themselves to sleep. While OP was trying to hold the relationship together, partner was sending, "You're so much easier to talk to than my ex," to a stranger. Now OP is stuck in the moral gray. They finally have the truth, but they got it by violating a boundary they always swore they respected. Do they admit they snooped? Do they pretend they saw a notification over their partner's shoulder? Do they quietly gather screenshots and plan a more strategic exit? Like the revenge stories where people document everything before they walk. They sit there in the dim light of the TV, heart pounding, thumb hovering over the power button, knowing that whatever they do next might blow up their entire life. By the time partner stirs awake, OP has already made a decision. Tomorrow, they're going to confront them, but the way that confrontation actually plays out is not at all what they rehearsed in their head. Tracking apps and location sharing, the year-long surveillance. So while that confrontation is loading in the back of your mind like a boss fight, welcome back to the channel and grab your favorite blanket, because this next one is about control that looks like care on the surface. It starts soft, almost cozy, and then quietly turns into a year-long surveillance project that still doesn't prepare OP for what they find. I told myself it was for safety, That's the part that still makes me cringe. One quiet night, my partner fell asleep on the couch, phone unlocked, screen glowing with that little share my location prompt from a group chat. I've been anxious lately. Late nights at a new job, overtime, dead phone batteries. So I toggled on location sharing with my own account, told myself it was just to help me sleep. I didn't do anything with it at first. Days went by. Then one night, they texted that they were working late, and I was sitting alone in our apartment, music low, Minecraft on in the background, and curiosity won. I opened the map. Tiny blue dot, not at the office. At a random residential street across town. I remember the little rush of adrenaline, and then the immediate rationalizing. Maybe it's a client's place. Maybe they grabbed drinks with coworkers. I closed it. Promised myself I wouldn't become that person. You can guess how that went. At first, I only checked on late nights. Then, on nights that felt late. Then during the day, just to see if they got to work okay. It slid from occasional peek to reflex. Waiting in line? Check the dot. Bored at lunch? Check the dot. Lying awake at night while they texted, still at the office, don't wait up, definitely check the dot. And it was so quiet, this obsession. I didn't tell friends. I didn't even admit it in myself. I just built this private little ritual of opening the map, watching that blue dot like it was my own secret security camera. There's something darkly funny about thinking you're in control, because you can see a dot when really the dot is just narrating your own denial. After a few months, patterns started to emerge. The office was actually a co-working space downtown, not the corporate building they'd shown me on Google Maps. Overtime nights kept ending at the same small cul-de-sac. Saturday errands took them to an address I didn't recognize over and over like clockwork. So one afternoon, when they texted, running late, big project, I did what you're not supposed to do if you want a calm, comfortable night of sleep. I followed the dot. I parked a few houses down from the mystery address. Engine off, hands shaking just enough to make my keys rattle. Kids' bikes in the yard, flower pots, a wind chime giving off these soft, random little vibrations in the breeze. Completely normal, painfully domestic. I cross-checked the address on my phone, half expecting a business listing. Instead, up popped a public registry
hit. Same street number, different last name, same first name. As my partner. Spouse, listed.
Kids, listed. It wasn't a client. It wasn't some secret side gig. It was a second life. I sat there in my car, outside this stranger's house that apparently wasn't a stranger's at all, watching my partner's dot settle right on top of that roof like it owned the place. All that tracking, all that peace of mind, and I was still blindsided. I had 3 options: knock on the door, drive away, or pretend I never knew, and stage the confrontation later on my turf. I just sat there, fingers on the steering wheel, feeling that eerie, hollow awareness that sometimes you can know way too much and still not be ready for the truth. And the choice OP makes next is where things stop feeling like quiet snooping and start looking a lot more like revenge. Fake accounts, real damage, catfishing your own partner. So OP is still sitting in that car, fingers locked on the steering wheel, and decides that if they're already halfway into the swamp, they might as well wade in. And this is where we slide from quiet suspicion into that murky, unhinged territory that does not give you the warm, fuzzy feeling of justice being served. Just a knot in your stomach. OP admits they've been cheated on before. Different relationship, different apartment, same sick feeling. The late night music, the just friends texts, the way their ex would flip their phone face down. So now, with this new partner who seems perfect on paper, they're obsessed with never being surprised again. They tell us, I didn't want revenge, I wanted certainty, which is how they talk themselves into the worst idea you can have at 2 a.m. Catfishing your own partner. They don't go full Hollywood hacker. They keep it cozy and believable. A blank Instagram, a few borrowed selfies from a friend of a friend's public account, some casual party photos with fairy lights in the background. A backstory that sounds harmless. Moved to the city recently. Can't sleep. Looking for new people to talk to at night. OP scrolls, deletes, rewrites the bio 3 times. Heart pounding, they type out that first DM. Hey, I think I've seen you around. Do you live near the park? Then they hit send, put the phone face down on the couch, and just listen to their own pulse. For a day, nothing. Left on red. OP almost relaxes. They think, okay, maybe this will actually help you drift off to sleep tonight. Maybe they're loyal. Maybe I'm just broken. Then, late that night, the reply pings. Haha, maybe. You seem familiar too. At first, it's small talk. Weather, work, the usual, what music do you like kind of thing. OP is trying to steer it, to test, but not bait too hard. The partner's polite, a little flirty in that I'm just being nice way. A smiley here, a compliment there. OP keeps telling themselves, this is fine. This is just data. But you can feel the vibrations of panic starting to build. Pattern interrupt. The partner brings OP up to the fake account. They say, honestly, I'm seeing someone. It's serious. I shouldn't even be chatting this much. OP is staring at the screen, torn between relief and this weird, bitter jealousy of themselves. It should end there. It doesn't. A mutual friend notices the new account and messages OP like, why is someone using my cousin's photos? Now there are screenshots, group chats, people speculating about who the catfish is. OP's partner shows them the DMs in real life, all proud like, look, I shut it down. People are wild. OP laughs along, stomach dropping. They could confess right then. Instead, they double down, send one more DM from the fake account. You seem really honest. I like that. And this time, the partner slips. Thanks. Tempting, but I'm trying to be good. Trying, not being, trying. The guilt finally cracks OP. They confess everything. How they made the profile, how they tested him, how the whole thing started as a twisted safety blanket. The partner doesn't yell. They go very, very quiet. They say, you violated my privacy to see if I'd violate your trust. And that's the core of it. There's no clean revenge. No karma really does come full circle moment. Just two people staring at each other across the living room, realizing they both failed the same test in different ways. The relationship doesn't explode that night, but it fractures. Therapy is mentioned. Breakup is too. By the time OP moves out a few months later, they've learned that you can't make yourself feel safe by turning into the thing you're afraid of. And in the next story, we've got someone who learns that same lesson, except their test involves a secret wedding, an uninvited guest, and a level of family drama that makes this catfish look almost peaceful. Sleep check-in and morally gray zone. So while that secret wedding circus is loading in the background, I want to hit pause for just a second and check in with you. These stories get wild, and it's really easy to forget that behind every dramatic twist is a very real, very tired person who was just trying to feel safe. A lot of what we've been hearing lives in that uncomfortable gray area. People snoop on phones, make fake accounts, track locations, or scroll through old messages, not because they woke up and thought, you know what sounds fun? Violating privacy, but because they're scared. Scared of being blindsided again, scared their gut is right, scared that if they don't look, they'll miss the warning signs they ignored last time. If you've ever hovered over a partner's unlocked phone or stared at that little location dot on a map, you're not alone. Studies say roughly 1 in 5 people admit to snooping, and that's just the ones who will actually say it out loud. For some, it starts with, I'm just checking the time, and ends with a full scroll through notifications at 2 in the morning in the dark, in an apartment that suddenly feels way too quiet. And that brings up the big sticky question, is checking a partner's phone or tracking them ever justified? Like, if they really are cheating, lying about money, or running a secret second life, was the snooping the wrong part? Or was it self-defense? Or does it always cross a line, even if your gut is screaming and turns out to be right? I'm not going to hand you some perfect one-size-fits-all answer here. You don't need to solve the ethics of modern surveillance before bed. It's okay to just let that question sit in the back of your mind. Like low music at the edge of a party you're not really listening to. You can notice your own reactions, maybe think about what you'd do, and then let it drift as the Minecraft world keeps quietly building itself block by block. Remember, I'm here to help you drift off to sleep, not stress you out. The stories might be chaotic, but the gameplay and my voice are meant to be the steady part. Same soft colors, same calm movements, the same little mining sounds and footsteps, like a predictable rhythm under all the emotional vibrations from these confessions. So if your eyes are getting heavy, you can let yourself zone in and out. Miss a detail, catch the ending, doze off, and wake up to a different revenge, already in progress. I'll still be here, wandering through our cozy pixel world, reading the next wild thing someone decided to confess to the internet. Because after this gray area stretch, we're about to tilt hard into the fun stuff. Petty revenge and nuclear breakups. The kinds of relationships that don't just end. They explode in group chats, family dinners, and sometimes right in the middle of a wedding aisle. Karma really does come full circle in the next set of stories, and some of these people light the fuse themselves. Let's dive into the part where the quiet suspicions turn into loud, messy finales. Cheater exposed at the party. The public confrontation. So, since we're already in the land of nuclear breakups, let's dive into one of those stories where the relationship doesn't just end quietly over text. It ends under bright lights, with music still playing in the background, and a room full of people holding plastic cups and frozen expressions. OP says this started on a totally normal weeknight. They were in their cozy apartment, scrolling, half listening to background music, when a message request popped up on Instagram. It was from a woman they didn't recognize, and the first line was, "Hey, I think we're dating the same guy." Not exactly the kind of bedtime notification that helps you drift off to sleep. At first, OP thought it was a scam, but the woman sent screenshots. Same boyfriend's face, same pet name, same busy at work babe. Text that OP had gotten the exact same night. Then she sent a selfie from his place, and OP could see his couch, his TV, the same crooked lamp they'd been meaning to fix. The vibrations of reality kind of shifted in that moment. Quiet breakup material? Maybe for some people. OP admits they just felt this cold, steady anger instead. They tried the usual route. They asked him calmly if there was anything he needed to tell them. He lied without blinking, said the woman was crazy, obsessed, making things up. That might have worked. If OP didn't already have months of messages, timestamps, and even a couple of tagged photos where he'd somehow forgotten to hide his face. And this is where OP decided that a private conversation was not going to cut it. There was a birthday party coming up for one of their mutual friends. Big turnout expected, including his family and co-workers. OP thought about all the stories they'd heard on Reddit, all the times cheaters got to rewrite the narrative later, and decided, nope, we're going to do this once, clearly, with witnesses. So they planned. They made a neat little folder of screenshots, dates, times, flirty messages, overlapping "I miss you" texts. They even printed a few old school style. Just in case the Wi-Fi at the venue was spotty, they looped in 2 trusted friends, not as a revenge hype squad, but as people who could later say, "No, you're not crazy. We saw it." The night of the party, OP showed up early, looking calm, comfortable, and very done. They greeted everyone, hugged his mom, joked with coworkers, and let him think this was just another cozy night out. He relaxed, started doing his usual social butterfly routine, telling his perfect boyfriend stories. OP waited until the cake came out. Lights dimmed, everyone gathered, phones up. As the last note of "Happy Birthday" faded, OP stepped forward, voice steady, and said, "While everyone's here, I just want to show you all something." They put their phone on the table, screen facing up, and started swiping through the screenshots. The room went from party chatter to absolute stunned silence in about 3 seconds. He tried denial first, then anger. Then he turned on the other woman, calling her a liar, until OP quietly played a voice note where he said her name, the date, and mentioned this very party. You could almost feel the warm, muttered, "Dude, what are you doing?" Muttered, "Dude, what are you doing?" Someone in the back actually whispered, "Wow." OP didn't shout. They just said, "I'm done. We're over. You can explain this however you want, but you won't be doing it to me." Then they handed his mom a small envelope with printed screenshots. Because they knew he'd try to spin it later, grabbed their coat and walked out into the cool night air. No dramatic music, just the soft thud of the door closing behind them, and the knowledge that, for once, the cheater didn't get to control the story. OP admits they shook the whole drive home. There's nothing truly cozy about detonating a relationship like that, even when it's deserved. But they also slept, really slept, for the first time in weeks. No more checking his location, no more wondering. And the aftermath? That's where things got even messier. Because it turned out he wasn't the only one in that friend group hiding something. Quiet exit strategy, staying for rent and planning the escape. So with that social bomb still smoking in the background, let's slide into a different flavor of chaos. This one isn't about a loud explosion, it's about a quiet exit, the kind where you're still sharing an apartment, still splitting rent, but in your head you've already packed up and left the relationship 3 weeks ago. Welcome back to the channel, and grab your favorite blanket for this one, because it's a slow burn kind of revenge that somehow still gives that warm, fuzzy feeling of justice being served. OP had been with her boyfriend for 3 years. They moved in together during that weird, foggy period when rent was sky high, jobs were shaky, and health insurance felt like a luxury item. On paper, it was practical. One lease, one set of bills, one cozy place to sleep at night. In reality, she was basically funding his extended college party era while working full-time. The mask slipped when she opened the mail one afternoon and found a credit card statement with charges she didn't recognize. Hotel, bar tabs, random flower shop. When she asked, he laughed it off, called her paranoid, and accused her of snooping. Classic manipulation. 2 days later, she noticed the same hotel tagged on his friend's Instagram story, with a very familiar-looking arm around a very unfamiliar woman. That was the moment the switch flipped. She describes it like a sound dropping out of a room. The hurt was there, but it moved to the back. In the front, there was strategy. She realized she couldn't just storm out. Her name was on the lease. His job didn't offer good health insurance. Hers did. And she had a specialist appointment coming up she couldn't afford to lose. So instead of a dramatic midnight breakup, she went quiet. Not sulking quiet. Calculated quiet. She started scanning documents at work. Lease, pay stubs, his messages that basically admitted to cheating. She opened a separate savings account he didn't know about and funneled every spare dollar there. On lunch breaks, she scrolled listings for a tiny studio. Something just big enough for a bed, a desk, and some peaceful Minecraft nights. At home, the petty disengagement began. No more cooking for him, no more laundry. Since you're such an independent guy, she stopped reminding him about appointments, stopped picking up his slack. Conversations became one-word answers. He thought she was just being moody and turned up his music, kept going to his little party nights, completely oblivious that karma really does come full circle, sometimes in absolute silence. She writes that the best sleep she'd had in months was the first night she knew she was leaving, still in the same bed, same room, but mentally she was already arranging furniture in her future place. There's a strange, bittersweet comfort in knowing you're done while the other person is still performing for an audience that's already left. Move-out day was almost boring, which made it perfect. She waited until he was at work. Friends showed up with a truck. She took her furniture, her computer, the important kitchen stuff she'd bought, and left his sticky shot glasses and broken gaming chair behind. Keys on the counter, health insurance card in her wallet, a short note on the table, lease transfer filed. I'll sign when you do. Do not contact me except through email about the apartment. No screaming, no dramatic music, just the soft, satisfying click of a door closing on her terms. And if you think that's the end of the quiet quit relationship stories, wait until you hear what the next OP did with a shared bank account and a very nosy mother-in-law, ultimatums and wild conditions when breakups turn nuclear. So welcome back to the channel and grab your favorite blanket, because this next one starts quiet and cozy and then goes absolutely nuclear. We're moving from sneaky spreadsheets and shared bank accounts to a different kind of control. The prove you love me ultimatum that blows a whole relationship apart. OP had been with her boyfriend for 3 years. On paper, it looked comfortable enough. Shared apartment, shared bills, shared Sunday morning coffee while some chill music played in the background. But if you look a little closer, the cracks were already there. He didn't like her going to office happy hours. He'd pout when she texted male coworkers back, even in the middle of a busy workday. Every new boundary she set, he'd push, then apologize, then push again. It never crossed into anything you could point to and say, "That's it, I'm done." Just a slow tightening. A comment about her dress being too much for a company party. A sulk when she stayed late at work. A sarcastic little, "Must be nice having so many guy friends," tossed out like a joke. You know that feeling where something's off, but you can't quite prove it to yourself yet? The breaking point came on an ordinary Tuesday night. No fight, no alcohol, just leftovers, dim kitchen light, and the hum of the fridge. Out of nowhere, he slid a printed document across the table. Not flowers, not a love letter, a relationship agreement he'd typed up at work. In this contract, OP would agree to cut off all male friends, block every guy on social media who wasn't family, stop going to work events where alcohol was served, and share her phone location with him 24/7. If she broke the rules, she'd voluntarily move out of the apartment and leave the security deposit behind. He actually had a spot for her signature and the date, like it was some cozy little legal spell to keep his jealousy under control. She laughed at first, thought it was a bad joke, but he didn't laugh. He folded his arms, stared at her, and said, "If you have nothing to hide, this shouldn't be a problem. This is how you can prove you're serious about us." That was the pattern interrupt for her brain. In one sharp, echoing moment, she saw all the little comments, all the pouting, all the guilt trips lining up into one clear picture. This wasn't about love. It was about ownership. The conversation went from a low simmer to a rolling boil in minutes. He raised his voice, accused her of planning to cheat, said everyone has unspoken rules. He just wanted theirs written down. He slammed his fist on the table so hard a glass tipped and shattered on the kitchen tile, tiny pieces catching the light like a messed up disco ball. OP's heart was pounding, but her voice stayed calm. That's the part I love in these stories, because you can almost feel that warm, fuzzy feeling of justice being served even before anything actually happens. She told him flat out, "My friends are not negotiable. My job is not negotiable. My privacy is not negotiable. If you need a contract to trust me, you don't trust me." He doubled down, tears yelling, the whole "you're throwing us away over something so small" routine. He tried to guilt her with the apartment, the deposit, the shared furniture. He even waved the paper at her like it was a golden ticket to relationship security. Instead of signing, she went to the bedroom, pulled out a suitcase, and started to pack. No dramatic music, just the soft zip of a bag and the distant vibrations of a neighbor's TV through the wall. When he realized she was actually leaving, he switched from angry to panicked in about 3 seconds flat. At the door, keys in hand, she set the unsigned agreement on the counter. "You don't need my signature," she said. "You just showed me exactly who you are." Then she walked out into the cool night, heading to a coworker's couch and the first real sleep she'd had in months. And because karma really does come full circle, the landlord later told her that X tried to keep the entire deposit, only to find out she'd already emailed photos and timestamps of every inch of that apartment. But that's a different kind of petty revenge. Speaking of which, our next OP doesn't get the contract to sign. She gets an ultimatum involving her dog, her fiancé, and a very unhinged mother-in-law. Soft riff cue, let the chaos stay on the screen. And a very unhinged mother-in-law. So, before we let her loose on the wedding plans, let's slow things down for a second. Welcome back to the channel if you've drifted in and out and suddenly popped back in like, wait, whose dog and whose fiancé? The last few stories were a lot. Explosive ultimatums, deposits on the line, people getting that warm, fuzzy feeling of justice being served, while relationships basically detonate in the background. It's totally normal if you feel this weird mix of satisfaction and secondhand stress right now. Your brain loves the revenge, but your body's like, are we at a party or in bed? So let me gently remind you, all of this chaos is happening far, far away, inside anonymous Reddit posts, on someone else's screen, in someone else's apartment or house. Right now, you're in your own cozy little bubble. Maybe you're tucked into bed. Maybe you're on the couch with the music of the Minecraft world, humming softly underneath my voice. The only vibrations in your space are from your fan, your phone, or maybe your cat jumping up to claim your blanket. Since we're already here together, grab your favorite blanket if you haven't yet. Go ahead and do a tiny check-in with your body. Unclench your jaw. Actually, notice your teeth separate. Drop your shoulders away from your ears like you're hanging them on a little hook. Take a slow breath in through your nose. Hold it for a heartbeat, and then let it drift out, long and lazy. Feel yourself sink a little deeper into whatever you're lying or sitting on. Like the mattress or cushions are just quietly absorbing the leftover drama for you. You don't have to catch every single detail of these stories. You're allowed to let your attention wander. If your eyes are half closed and you're just watching my little Minecraft character dig in a straight line or build another cozy base, that's perfectly fine. The narration will stay steady, the gameplay will stay calm, and I'll still be here to help you drift off to sleep, even if your brain only checks in for the big reveals. And the karma really does come full circle moments. If you do drift off and wake up mid-confession, you're not missing a test. These are just stories washing past, like a river you're listening to from the bank. No pressure to keep up, no pressure to pick sides. When you're ready though, let's dive into a different flavor of messy. Coming up, we're moving into the unpopular opinions and morally gray confessions. People admitting they were the side piece and kind of okay with it, partners staying purely for money or housing, and folks who quietly checked out of the relationship months before they actually left. It's less caught red-handed and more, I know I'm the problem, but here's why I did it. So stay cozy, keep breathing slow, and we'll step into that gray area together, one calm, chaotic confession at a time. Confession of the side piece, knowing you're the other person. So, staying in that gray area, let me tell you about the time I was the gray area. And as you get comfortable and maybe grab your favorite blanket, I want you to remember, this is a confession, not a how-to guide. When I met him, he told me he had a girlfriend in another city. Long distance, basically over, just waiting for the right time to end it. You can probably already hear the alarm bells that I politely pretended were just soft background music. I told myself it was casual, temporary, a little emotional party before real life settled down again. He painted their relationship like a dead apartment with the lights off. No warmth, no laughter, just obligations and shared bills. According to him, she was controlling, cold, maybe even a little emotionally abusive. He'd say things like, she tracks my location, she snoops my phone, she'd explode if she knew I was even talking to another woman. And I, very nobly in my own head, thought, I'm not the problem here. I'm the escape hatch. That's how the justifications start. I believed every promise that he was leaving soon, after the holidays, after her birthday, after their lease was up. There was always a milestone, always a reason it had to be just a little longer. I told myself I was different, that I understood him in a way she never could. I mean, he texted me goodnight every single night. That has to mean something, right? Except nights and texts don't add up to a real relationship. Over time, the cozy fantasy started to feel like a very cold waiting room. Holidays? He was busy with family. Translation? With her. My birthday? A quick call in the parking lot between errands. Whispered like a secret he couldn't afford. At New Year's Eve, I watched the fireworks alone while my phone stayed stubbornly dark, telling myself he'd make it up to me later. Being a secret sounds exciting in movies. In real life, it's just a constant low-level anxiety humming under your skin. No photos together, no tagging on social media. If we passed someone he knew, he'd suddenly step a little away from me, like we were co-workers who accidentally bumped into each other outside the office. I could feel my self-respect slowly leaking out, drip by drip. The breaking point came in the most undramatic way. I was scrolling one night, half asleep, letting the stories and Minecraft blocks help you drift off to sleep in the background, when I saw a post on a relationship sub. Different city, different usernames, but the script was identical. Loveless relationship, controlling partner. I met this amazing person who really understands me, but I can't leave yet because, and the comments, full of people saying, dude, you've been telling this story for years. You're never leaving. You just like the ego boost. That's when it clicked. I wasn't special. I was just the current listener to a very old song. A week later, I told him I was done. No screaming, no revenge, just a quiet, I can't be your secret anymore. The emotional hangover was rough. There was shame because I knew I'd helped someone cheat. There was relief, like finally stepping out of a cramped, stuffy room into cool night air. And there was still that stupid little ache when my phone buzzed, and I hoped it was him. People say karma really does come full circle, and maybe mine is just knowing how easy it is to lie to yourself when you really want to feel chosen. I'll let you decide how you feel about me in that story, because our next confession, let's just say someone finds out they're not the only one with a secret, and this time the fallout is anything but quiet. Staying for money, the relationship as a financial contract. So, with that last quiet little explosion still echoing, let's dive into a different kind of confession. One that doesn't come with slammed doors or dramatic screenshots, but with spreadsheets and health insurance portals. This is the one that made me pause the Minecraft music for a second and just stare at my screen, because sometimes the villain isn't the cheater or the secret family. Sometimes it's the part of you that can do cold math on your own heart. OP starts by admitting something most people only think in the dark at 3 a.m. They're not sure they ever really loved their partner. Not the way their partner clearly loves them. But they moved into a nice apartment together, split the rent, shared a car, and, crucially, OP got on their partner's amazing health insurance. Suddenly, I'm not sure, turned into, I can't afford to leave. They describe it like signing a contract they never read. At first it felt cozy. Shared groceries, streaming passwords, weekend nights with takeout and background Minecraft vibes while they both scrolled. Then the little things started to grate. Their partner got clingy, mildly controlling about money, made passive-aggressive comments if OP went to a work party without them. Nothing big enough to call abuse, just this low, constant hum of toxicity. And OP did the math. Therapy without insurance? Too expensive. Rent alone in their city? Laughable. So they told themselves, it's only a few more years. I can endure a little emotional emptiness if it means I'm not one medical bill away from disaster. From there, OP's emotional shutdown was almost organized. They stopped initiating deep talks. They learned which answers kept the peace. I'm just tired from work, covered a lot. They leaned into routine, same dinners, same shows, same comfortable silence, while quietly opening a separate savings account. Every bonus, every tax return, every little side gig payment went into what they privately called the exit fund. During the day, they'd listen to cozy stories and budgeting podcasts to help them drift off to sleep at night without thinking too hard about what they were doing. The guilt showed up in tiny, sharp moments. Their partner would look at them across the couch and say, "I can't wait to see you as a parent." And OP would feel their stomach drop because they had already decided there would be no kids in this relationship. Their partner would plan a 10-year anniversary trip while OP was on their phone checking the growing balance of the exit fund. There's this one scene where their partner surprises them with a framed photo from their first vacation, music playing softly in the background, and OP smiles for real. Then immediately thinks, "I'm going to leave the person who did this for me," and has to excuse themselves to the bathroom so they don't cry for the wrong reason. They stayed 3 more years. 3 years of playing the role, giving just enough affection to keep questions away, accepting birthday gifts, letting "I love you" hang in the air unanswered until their partner filled the silence. OP calls it quiet quitting the relationship. And honestly, the phrase fits a little too well. When the numbers finally worked, enough savings, a decent promotion, their own insurance option, OP left. No affair, no big fight. Just, "I'm not happy. I'm moving out." Their partner was devastated, blindsided, asking if there was someone else. OP swears there wasn't. Just money and fear and a line on a budget spreadsheet that finally added up. They end by saying they feel justified and sick at the same time. Justified because the system really does punish people who try to survive alone. Sick because they treated a human being like a financial safety net. They never confessed the full truth to their ex. That person still thinks it was a slow fade, not a calculated exit. And OP's last line, "I don't know if karma really does come full circle for this, or if the circle already hit me while I was still there." We're going to stick with that morally gray space for our next story too, because up next is someone who didn't just quietly quit their relationship. They quietly documented every red flag until the breakup felt like a courtroom verdict. Quiet. Quitting the relationship. Emotionally leaving before you move out. So, welcome back to the channel and grab your favorite blanket, because this next one isn't a screaming match or a dramatic affair reveal. It's the slow, quiet kind of vending that almost feels more unhinged because nobody throws a plate, nobody cheats, nobody even raises their voice. They just stop. OP says they'd been with their partner for 8 years. No secret second apartment, no hidden kids, no wild party nights they didn't know about, just 1,000 tiny letdowns, birthdays where their partner forgot the cake, holidays where OP did all the emotional labor and got a gift card in return, promises to go to therapy that somehow always slipped their mind once the night's music and Netflix came on. They describe it like this: "There wasn't one big betrayal. It was like being nibbled to death by ducks. Every time they tried to talk, it turned into, 'You're too sensitive,' or 'Can we not do this right before bed? I need my sleep.'" So OP did what a lot of us do at first. They pushed harder, scheduled date nights, planned weekend trips, printed out articles about communication like they were studying for a relationship exam. And then one night, after another half-listened conversation where their partner scrolled on their phone and said, "We're fine, you worry too much," something just clicked off. OP says it felt like flipping a breaker. No big speech, no revenge fantasy. Just a quiet, internal, "Okay, I'm done trying." From that point, they quietly quit the relationship. They stopped initiating deep talks, stopped booking reservations or planning cozy nights in. If their partner suggested something, sure, they'd go. But they weren't the cruise director anymore. They stopped reminding them about bills and birthdays. They let the mental load fall where it actually belonged. Over a few months, the whole thing shifted into a roommate dynamic. OP started going to the gym alone, then picking up a new hobby class 2 nights a week. They'd eat dinner at different times, in different rooms, like 2 tenants sharing an apartment and a Wi-Fi password. Hugs became sidearm pats. Kisses turned into quick, polite pecks. They describe conversations as, quote, customer service level nice, pleasant, efficient, and emotionally empty. Here's the weird part that might help you drift off to sleep and also keep you up thinking. OP felt relief. Their chests stopped feeling tight. They weren't chasing validation or rehearsing speeches in the shower anymore. At the same time, there was this low, steady sadness, watching something that used to feel warm and bright fade out without even the courtesy of a big final fight. They say, it felt like watching our relationship die of natural causes while we both pretended it just had a long nap. Months went by, then a year. Friends asked if everything was okay, and OP would say, yeah, we're just busy, knowing that was only half a lie. The actual breakup? Quiet. One Sunday afternoon, OP told their partner they'd found a small studio and would be moving out in 6 weeks. No screaming, no begging. Their partner just sat there, stunned, like someone who slept through the earthquake and woke up to the rubble. OP writes, by the time I carried the last box out, the breakup had already happened 100 nights before, in all the conversations we never had. And because karma really does come full circle in strange ways, our next story flips that script. Instead of quietly quitting, the partner goes nuclear, with a breakup announcement that involves a group chat, a projector, and one very unfortunate birthday party. Soft reflection, are you still here or already asleep? With a breakup announcement that involves a group chat, a projector, and one very unfortunate birthday party. And somewhere between that messy public meltdown and whatever blocky little build I'm working on right now, you might have noticed something. This video has kind of settled into its own cozy rhythm. The music is soft, the Minecraft world is just quietly existing, and these stories are just drifting by like late night thoughts that show up right before sleep. By this point, a bunch of you are probably gone in the best way. Some of you are fully knocked out, phone face down on the pillow. This playing to help you drift off to sleep while your brain files away the day. Some of you are in that half-listening zone where my voice is just background vibrations under your own thoughts. And a few of you are still wide awake, maybe scrolling, maybe building your dream apartment, or a ridiculous redstone contraption in your own Minecraft world. Wherever you are on that spectrum, it's completely fine. You don't have to use this video the right way. If it's your cozy background noise while you grind resources, perfect. If you're curled up and actually following every twist in these unhinged relationship confessions, also perfect. If you just needed something calm and steady to keep you company on a rough night, that's exactly what it's here for. So, if you are still awake, go ahead and grab your favorite blanket or adjust your pillow and maybe do a tiny mental check-in. Out of everything you've heard so far, the quiet breakups, the petty revenge, the birthday party projector moment, was there one story that hit you harder than the others? Maybe the one that made you pause your game, or the one where you thought, yeah, I know someone exactly like that. You don't have to jump into the comments right now. You can just mentally bookmark it. Tomorrow, if you remember, you can come back and tell me which story gave you that warm, fuzzy feeling of justice being served, or which one made you want to send a link to a friend with a "this is literally your ex" message. And if your brain is starting to blur the details, that's okay too. These stories are going to keep flowing at this same gentle pace. You don't need to keep up, you don't need to rewind, and you definitely don't need to stress about missing some crucial plot twist. This isn't a test, it's just a cozy stream of chaos where karma really does come full circle, whether you're fully conscious for it or not. As you settle in deeper, we're about to tilt the dial back toward the more extreme side of secret keeping. Think hidden kids and second families in other states, double lives that unravel over one suspicious piece of mail, and relationships that were basically built on lies from day one. So, if your eyes are still open, let's dive into the next confession. Because the calm Minecraft night is about to meet some very chaotic truths. The hidden child, finding out years into the relationship. So, with that little warning about secret keeping still echoing, grab your favorite blanket, get cozy, and let's dive into a story that feels like it was written by a sleep-deprived soap opera writer. OP starts this one in what they think is the calm, stable part of the movie. 5 years into a relationship, living together in a small but comfortable apartment, wedding Pinterest boards already made, and a shared Google Calendar that knows more about them than their own families do. By this point, OP can recite their partner's history like a bedtime story. One serious ex, a rough patch with money in their early 20s, some vague references to a messy breakup that taught them a lot. They've met the parents, the siblings, even the weird cousin who treats every barbecue like it's a club night with bad music. No kids. That part has always been clear, or so OP thinks. The crack in the picture doesn't start with some dramatic confession. It starts with a tag. OP is scrolling social media in bed one night, Minecraft music humming softly from the TV to help you drift off to sleep, when a notification pops up. Their partner has been tagged in a photo. Cute kid, maybe 6, big smile, birthday party chaos in the background. The caption, "Can't believe my little man is 6 already. Thanks to partner's name for being such a great dad." OP's brain does that thing where it tries to file the information somewhere safe. Must be a joke. Godparent, uncle, something. But the comments are worse. Little heart emojis. Best co-parents ever. He looks just like you. One person even says, "So glad the custody stuff is finally calmer for you two." The confrontation isn't explosive at first. OP waits until their partner comes home from work, still smelling like outside air and office coffee, and just shows them the post. No speech, no dramatic monologue. Just, "Do you want to explain this?" And the partner freezes in a way that tells OP everything before a single word comes out. The explanation is a tangle. There was a relationship before OP, a pregnancy that turned into a nasty custody battle, lawyers, threats, and an agreement that left everyone exhausted. Partner says they were terrified OP would judge them, or worse, leave. They didn't want to drag OP into court dates, angry texts, and holiday schedules negotiated like hostage deals. So they protected OP by leaving out the part where they are, in fact, a parent. Top OP sits there feeling like they're watching someone else's life. On one hand, they get it. Family court is brutal, and not everyone wants to talk about their worst chapter. On the other hand, this isn't a forgotten parking ticket. This is a whole human being. Birthdays, school, tiny shoes lined up by some other apartment door. A part of their partner's heart that OP has never been allowed to see. They feel this weird mix of empathy and betrayal. They picture that kid blowing out candles while OP is home, thinking their biggest shared stress is centerpieces and honeymoon flights. They wonder what else has been edited out. If someone can hide a child, What does full honesty even mean anymore? As the night stretches on and the Minecraft landscape rolls by like a quiet, pixelated lullaby, OP realizes they're standing at a fork in the road. Stay and try to become part of this already in progress story, building trust from the rubble, or walk away from a relationship that suddenly feels like it was built on a carefully curated half-truth. They don't give us a tidy answer yet. They just say that the next message they get from someone they've never met might make the decision for them. Double engagement, when you recognize your partner in someone else's post. And that's exactly what happens in this next one. You're gonna be very glad you're just listening to cozy Minecraft music and not living this plot twist in real time. So, welcome back to the channel, grab your favorite blanket, and let's dive into a story where double life meets double tap. OP is having a totally normal night. It's late, they can't sleep, they're just doom scrolling TikTok with the lights low and the apartment quiet. You know that half zoned out state where the videos blur together into one long stream of music, party clips, and engagement announcements. It's all soft filters and she said yes, until one video makes their brain sit up. At first it's just background noise, a trending audio, a sparkly ring, a golden retriever weaving between two people on a couch. But something about the dog makes OP pause. The way the couch is angled, the frame print on the wall, it looks familiar, comfortable even. Like I have literally taken a nap there. Familiar. They blink, replay the video, and this time they really look. The camera pans wider, and there it is. The same gray sectional, the same slightly crooked lamp, the same scuffed coffee table with that tiny chip on the corner. Because it's their apartment. Not just similar, their actual apartment. And then the fiancé steps into frame, smiling, dropping to one knee. OP describes it like a physical hit. This gut punch where the air leaves their lungs and everything goes quiet except their own heartbeat. Because the person proposing in this very cute, very viral engagement video is their partner. They replay it again. Zoom in on the dog's collar. Yup, that's their dog. Zoom in on the bookshelf. There's the Minecraft guide they bought as a joke. They checked the username, the caption, the date. Posted yesterday. A full, glittery, I said yes to my forever person caption from an account they've never seen before. This is where the frantic checking starts. Screenshots. Pausing frame by frame. They scroll the comments. Thousands of strangers saying couple goals and karma really does come full circle. Without realizing who's actually in the blast radius. OP hops to Instagram, searches the username, finds a whole other life. Vacations, holidays, matching pajamas. A second relationship running parallel to theirs. OP sends the TikTok to their partner with one line. Explain. Now. Then the calls start. Straight to voicemail. They alternate between shaking and staring at the screen, watching the view count climb. Every refresh is like another tiny earthquake of vibrations through their chest. When silence from the partner stretches on, OP does something they never thought they'd do. They DM the other fiancé, very calmly, very politely. Hey, I think we need to compare timelines. Within minutes, they're trading screenshots. Dates overlap. Anniversaries collide. Holidays double booked with increasingly creative excuses. By the time the partner finally calls back, the damage is already public. Comment sections start to shift as mutual friends quietly realize what's going on. DMs light up. Receipts get shared. Two separate lives, carefully kept in different tabs, suddenly crash into each other in real time. OP says the strangest part wasn't the yelling or the tears. It was sitting on their own couch, in that same apartment, watching a stranger's engagement video of their partner autoplay on loop. The betrayal wasn't just private, it was algorithm approved. So they stepped back, log off, and let the chaos play out without them, stunned at how the end of their relationship came with a soundtrack, a filter, and a comment section. And if you think that's as unhinged as it gets, the next confession takes public humiliation to a whole new level. This time with wedding vows, a projector, and some very well-timed receipts. Wedding sabotage, inviting the ex to the family table. So welcome back to the channel and grab your favorite blanket, because this next one is the kind of wedding story that makes you suddenly very awake. Imagine you've spent a year of your life planning one cozy, beautiful night. Seating charts, music, family drama negotiations that felt like UN peace talks. Every single name on that guest list went through you. I'm OP in this one, the bride, and I am a planner. Color-coded spreadsheets, 3 versions of the seating chart, and a very clear rule. No exes. Not mine, not his. I wanted our party to feel comfortable, not like a live episode of This Is Your Romantic Past. He agreed, smiled, said, "Of course, babe, it's our day." Fast forward to the reception. The lights are warm, the music is soft, and you can almost feel the happy little vibrations of people clinking glasses and laughing. I'm doing that slow, floaty walk around the room, saying hi to everyone, still kind of in shock that I'm married. I glance over at the family table, and my brain just stalls, because sitting there between his aunt and his cousin, in a dress that absolutely doesn't look last minute, is his ex. The one he dated for 4 years, the one we have argued about before. And she's smiling in photos like she has a reserved seat in my new life. For a second, I honestly thought I was sleep deprived and seeing things. Then I watched my brand new husband lean over, touch her shoulder, and laugh with her like they were hosting the party together. No one looked surprised she was there, except me. Pattern interrupt for your brain. I did not invite this woman. At all. I had never approved this. I checked every final list, every RSVP. So, how did she end up not just at the wedding, but at the family table? I spent the rest of the night in this weird, detached haze. You know when you're in an apartment and you hear a neighbor's TV through the wall, and it doesn't sound quite real? That was my own wedding. I smiled, I cut cake, I danced, but every time I looked over, there she was in the center of things, right in the line of the photographer's lens. Later, when we got the photos back, it clicked how deliberate it was, shot after shot. Me, him, his parents, and her, framed perfectly. In some angles, I was literally pushed to the side while she was dead center, like some alternate universe bride. That's when the humiliation really hit. This wasn't an accident. This was placement. When I confronted him, he finally admitted he'd secretly added her after I approved the list. He told me it was about closure, about staying friends, about not wanting to look petty, as if I was the unreasonable one for not wanting his long-term ex immortalized in my wedding album. I asked him very calmly why his need for closure got a front row seat at my family table, why he didn't tell me, why he was willing to let me find out in real time, in front of everyone. His answers made me feel like a guest at my own marriage. So now I'm sitting here with a brand new ring and a brand new question. Is this something you work through, or is this who he really is? Do you annul a marriage over a seating chart that turned into a public loyalty test? Part of me wants that warm, fuzzy feeling of justice being served, of karma really does come full circle. Part of me just wants to sleep and forget the whole night. The next confession pushes that line even harder, because it's not just an ex at a table, it's a groom who uses the vows themselves as a weapon, and the revenge doesn't come from a spreadsheet. It comes from a projector. Soft reset. When is a secret too big to forgive? So we go from a spreadsheet ambush to vows as a weapon to a projector turning a wedding into a courtroom. That's a lot of emotional whiplash for one cozy Minecraft night. If your brain feels a little buzzy right now, that makes sense. The last few stories haven't just been about someone forgetting to take the trash out or lying about where they were on a Friday night. We've been sitting with secrets about kids who suddenly appear out of nowhere, hidden engagements, double lives, weddings that were basically staged performances. These are the kinds of reveals that don't just hurt your feelings. They completely rewrite who you thought you were dating or who you thought you married. It's one thing to find out your partner has a secret snack stash in the apartment. It's another to find out they have a secret family in another state. So as you watch the little Minecraft character calmly stack blocks and wander through this cozy pixel world, I want to slow the pace down with you for a second. Not to make you spiral, not to send you down a mental rabbit hole, but just a soft reset. A gentle thought experiment to help you drift off to sleep instead of doom scrolling in your head. If you imagine your own life like one of these stories, is there any kind of secret that would feel forgivable if the person came clean on their own? Maybe a hidden credit card, some old debt they were ashamed of, an ex they still felt weird about mentioning, stuff that stings, but where you can still see a path back to trust. And then, on the other side, what crosses that invisible line into I can never see you the same way again? Is it a secret child? A second engagement? Years of financial lies? Or is it less about the category and more about the pattern, the quiet realization that this person was willing to look you in the eye, night after night, and keep you in the dark? You don't have to answer that tonight. You don't have to solve your whole relationship history in one insomniac analysis session. Just let the question float there, like one more block in the sky. You can pick it up tomorrow or never. It's okay to just notice what your body does when you think about it and then let it go. Welcome back to the channel if you're just now waking up a little and realizing you're halfway through the video. Grab your favorite blanket or readjust the one you already have and check in with your breathing. The music is still soft, the Minecraft world is still humming along, and my voice is going to stay low and steady. If your eyes want to get heavy here, that's your cue to let them. I know, revenge stories and relationship chaos don't sound like typical bedtime material, but there's something oddly soothing about having clear villains and clear lines crossed. That warm, fuzzy feeling of justice being served is its own kind of lullaby, especially when karma really does come full circle. From here, the confessions we're heading into are a little less surprise, I'm secretly married, and a little more I slowly chipped away at your boundaries until you didn't recognize yourself. We're talking emotional affairs that start as just friends, late night DMs that get deleted, fake accounts to stalk exes, and partners who treat your privacy like optional fine print. So as the camera glides over quiet Minecraft villages and the virtual night settles in, we're shifting from big, explosive legal secrets to the slow erosion of trust. No projectors, no altars, just the quiet, everyday lines people cross when they think no one is really paying attention. Let's dive into those next and see how people draw the line between forgivable mistakes and the kind of boundary violations you don't come back from. Emotional affairs and just friends, the slow creep over the line. So, as our little Minecraft raft village bobs on the water and the virtual night settles in, I want you to grab your favorite blanket for this next one. It's not loud like a party with blaring music and stomping neighbors, but it's the kind of quiet, creeping betrayal that keeps you staring at the ceiling instead of drifting off to sleep. OP starts off in what they thought was a pretty comfortable relationship. Nothing perfect, just steady. Same apartment, same routines, same late night Netflix in bed. Then their partner, we'll call him Dan, gets really close with a new coworker. At first it's harmless. Funny work stories, a couple of inside jokes, the usual office stuff you'd shrug off. But then the phone starts lighting up, constantly. During dinner, during movie night, right as OP is finally relaxing and letting the cozy Minecraft vibrations lull them into that half-sleep state. Dan is always smiling at his screen, thumbs flying. When OP asks who it is, the answer's casual. "Oh, it's just Mia from work. We're just friends." You can probably guess what happens when OP says, as calmly as possible, "Hey, this is starting to feel like a lot." Dan laughs it off, says OP is being insecure, controlling, paranoid. He points out that he's not sneaking off to a hotel. There's no lipstick on his collar. Nothing real is happening. Emotional cheating doesn't count, apparently, if you refuse to call it that. Over a few weeks, the pattern shifts. Notifications get flipped to silent. The phone is suddenly always face down. Dan takes late night calls in the hallway, whispering, then comes back with that weird, floaty energy, like he's been at a private little party OP wasn't invited to. Screens get locked faster. Messages get cleared. But if OP brings it up, it's the same script. We're just friends. You're overreacting. One night, OP wakes up around 2 a.m. to the faint glow of the phone. Dan's asleep, screen still in his hand. OP doesn't go looking for revenge, doesn't go full spy mode, but that light is right there. A single notification banner is frozen on the lock screen. A preview of a message from Mia. "I can't stop thinking about you. I wish I was in your bed instead of mine." That's the tipping point. No more plausible deniability. No more, "you're just insecure." OP scrolls just far enough to see a saved photo in their chat. Dan's selfie from their bedroom. The same night, OP had gone to sleep early with a headache. Same pillows, same apartment, different audience. OP doesn't scream. They wait until morning, sit Dan down, and read the messages out loud. Then they ask the question that hangs in the air like a low, humming note. If this isn't cheating to you, what is? By the time the sun comes up in game and in real life, OP is making a choice. Do they slap a label on it and walk? Or set ironclad boundaries and see if there's anything left to salvage? They pack an overnight bag and head to a friend's place, leaving Dan alone with his phone and his just friend. And you're left wondering where you draw that line, because our next story pushes it even further. The ex who never left. Secret social media obsession. So with OP crashing at a friend's place, and you may be shifting around in your own bed a little, let's dive into a story where the past doesn't just linger, it moves into the guest room and never leaves. Welcome back to the channel. Grab your favorite blanket, because this one starts off quiet and cozy and then gets unsettling. When I met my boyfriend Matt, he swore up and down, He was over his ex. Totally done, ancient history. You know that overly casual tone people use when they're definitely not comfortable? That. But the relationship felt comfortable. The nights were calm, Minecraft on the TV like soft background music, and I wanted to believe him. Everyone has a past, right? The first red flag was small. He'd accidentally say her name instead of mine when he was half asleep, then laugh it off like a weird dream. Then I noticed he always knew oddly specific updates about her life. New job, new apartment, her dog's surgery. Stuff you don't just pick up in passing. When I'd ask how he knew, he'd shrug and say, "Oh, someone mentioned it," and change the subject. One night he fell asleep on the couch mid-scroll, phone unlocked in his hand, Minecraft vibrations humming softly from the TV. I wasn't snooping. The screen just lit up. There it was, an Instagram burner account with a random username, logged into her profile page, endless scrolling through her photos, zooming in on her face, on her new boyfriend, on their vacation at the beach. My stomach dropped in that slow, heavy way, where you already know this isn't just curiosity. Curiosity turned into a whole drawer of fake accounts. I found a notes app list of usernames and passwords, different platforms, different personas. Some of them had sent her anonymous DMs. "You looked happier a few years ago. Are you sure he treats you right?" One account had left comments under her posts, pretending to be a stranger, talking up how great Matt used to be. That's when the physical stalking came out. He casually mentioned driving by her new apartment on the way home, even when it was clearly out of the way. Once he showed me a photo of a random street at night and said, "Crazy how people move on so fast." Like it was a joke. It was her street. I recognized the building from a tagged picture. When I finally confronted him, he went straight to minimization mode. It was just closure, just being curious, just making sure she was okay. He actually tried to frame it like he was being protective, like some twisted emotional revenge on her new boyfriend for replacing him. I told him point blank, this wasn't closure. It was obsession. It crossed every boundary of privacy and respect. And meanwhile, I was lying in bed next to someone who was emotionally living in a different relationship. Saying it out loud made something click for me. I realized I was basically the emotional bandage he slapped over a wound. He refused to let heal. I didn't want to be the warm-up act while he mentally replayed old scenes with her. I deserved to be someone's first choice, not their distraction from an unresolved fantasy. So I packed up my things from his apartment in one quiet afternoon, left my key on the counter, and walked away before I became part of his ghost story too. And if you're wondering how far people can take that kind of double life, our next story cranks it up. Not just secret accounts, but a whole secret family. Pattern. Interrupt. A softer, bittersweet confession. A whole secret family. But before we sprint straight into more chaos, I want to tap the brakes for a second and drift into something a little softer. Not every relationship crash lands with cheating, secret debts, and in-laws treating your apartment like a hotel. Sometimes it just runs out of road. So welcome back to the channel and grab your favorite blanket for this one, because it's more of a quiet midnight drive than a revenge parade. In this story, there isn't a clear villain. No screaming, no broken plates, no dramatic get out of my house at 2 a.m. Just two people who really did love each other and then slowly realized they were becoming wrong for each other in all the tiny, ordinary ways. When they first moved in together, their nights synced up. Same bedtime, same shows, taking turns making simple dinners and talking over the soft hum of music in the background. But a couple years in, the cracks showed up as little scheduling glitches. He started working early shifts, crashing at 10. She got a promotion that came with late night emails and a second wind around midnight. At first, it was kind of cute. He'd be half asleep on the couch while she finished a project, laptop glow lighting up his face, and they'd joke that they were ships passing in the night, but jokes started to feel more like labels. One person would be slipping into bed just as the other's alarm went off. The bedroom felt less like a cozy nest and more like a train station. Their hobbies drifted too. He got really into weekend hikes and early morning runs, loving that sharp, cold air before the city woke up. She fell in love with pottery classes that ran late and spontaneous game nights with coworkers. Neither thing was wrong, but they stopped overlapping. Date nights turned into, text me when you're home so I know you're safe, and then rolling over to get a bit more sleep. Conversations changed from connection to status reports. Instead of, how are you really? It became, did you pay the power bill? And what's the Wi-Fi password again? They coordinated grocery lists and rent transfers like efficient coworkers. The warm, fuzzy feeling of justice being served was replaced by the cool efficiency of two people running a very functional, very unromantic little life. One night, they both ended up on the couch at the same time by accident. No parties, no work crisis, no background vibrations from a noisy neighbor. Just a rare, quiet moment. The Minecraft-style equivalent would be when the mobs despawn and it's just you and the soft music. They looked at each other and realized they'd been lonely in the same apartment for months. There was no big fight. Instead, there was this strangely tender conversation. They admitted they wanted different futures. He pictured a small house, early mornings, maybe kids. She imagined travel, late nights in new cities, a career that didn't have to squeeze around school pickups. They cried a little. They laughed at how undramatic it all was. And then they did something that almost felt like a plot twist in the middle of all these unhinged stories. They let each other go on purpose. They agreed they both deserved to be with someone who was excited about the same kind of life. Someone who didn't just tolerate their rhythm, but matched it. No revenge, no karma really does come full circle moment. Just a gentle release. He helped her pack the fragile mug she'd made in pottery. She helped him find a new place closer to his favorite trail. They hugged in the empty living room, promised to actually mean it when they said, "I wish you the best," and then walked away. It didn't make for a dramatic Reddit headline, but it did something else. It proved that sometimes the kindest ending is the quiet one. And if you're ready to swing back from soft sadness to full chaos, our next confession does have a clear villain. And they're about to learn what happens when you treat your partner like a background character in your own movie. Soft drift reminder and future story invitation. So before we let that clear villain stomp onto the stage, I want to just pause with you for a second. That last one was softer, quieter, and for a lot of people, that kind of slow fade out hurts more than any dramatic screaming match. If that felt a little too familiar, you're not weird, you're not overreacting. You're just a person who's lived some things. Sometimes the unhinged part of relationships isn't a glitter bomb revenge or a screaming in-law in the apartment hallway. It's the way someone slowly stops choosing you, day after day, until you realize you've been living with a stranger. Wherever you are right now in the night, I've got you. If you're wide awake, staring at the ceiling and replaying conversations from 3 years ago, you're welcome back to the channel and you're very much allowed to be here in that headspace. If you're half asleep, Minecraft music humming in the background while the little blocky world keeps mining away, that's perfect too. And if you're already fully asleep and this is just leaking into your dreams like cozy background vibrations, honestly, that's kind of the goal. These stories are here to help you drift off to sleep or just feel a little less alone at 2 a.m. You don't have to sit up straight or follow every detail. You can just grab your favorite blanket, sink into whatever position is actually comfortable, and let the words wash over you like a slightly chaotic lullaby. And hey, low-key reminder, a lot of the wild, tender, and outright unhinged stories in videos like this start with someone like you. If you ever feel like, oh, my ex tracking my location for a year and still being shocked by what he found might actually belong here, you're probably right. There's usually a little form or an email in the description where you can send in your own anonymous relationship confession for future cozy chaos sessions. No pressure at all. You never owe your story to the internet. But when you do feel safe enough to share, it really does shape what we get to explore together. The warm, fuzzy feeling of justice being served hits different when you know it came from a real person sitting in a real bedroom, probably in sweatpants, trying to make sense of their own plot twist. We're heading into the final stretch of stories now. Still wild, still messy. Think hidden kids, secret debts, and in-laws who treat your wedding like their personal party, but with a little more focus on what people learned after the dust settled. This is where karma really does come full circle, not just in the they got exposed way, but in the quiet. I finally left, healed, and built something better way. So stay cozy, stay however you are, and let's dive into the next confession, where the villain thinks they're the main character, right up until the credits roll without them. When therapy becomes the breakup catalyst.
Welcome back to the channel and grab your favorite blanket because this next one isn't loud music. Neighbor from Hell Revenge. It's quieter, slower, the kind of story where the earthquake is inside your own apartment and you don't realize
it until therapy points at the cracks. OP had been with her boyfriend for 5 years. They weren't throwing wild parties every night, but the emotional noise was constant. The same argument on loop about money, him, forgetting plans, little lies that didn't quite add up. She'd seen enough breakup stories on Reddit to know where this could go, and she really didn't want to be another "I wasted my 20s on this guy" post. So she suggested couples therapy, thinking, this is how grown-ups fix things. He laughed at first, not a fun, cozy laugh either, more like, why would we pay someone to tell us what we already know? He said therapy was for people on the brink of divorce, not for a normal couple like them. But OP was serious. She found a counselor, checked their insurance, even offered to cover the copay herself. Eventually he agreed, but you could feel the half-hearted energy from a mile away. The first few sessions, OP went in ready to be vulnerable. She talked about how she couldn't sleep on nights after their fights, how her chest got tight when his phone lit up with unknown numbers, how she felt like she was tiptoeing through her own home. He, meanwhile, treated it like a performance review at work. Short answers. Lots of, I don't know, it's fine. When the therapist asked about trust, he said, she's just anxious. Like the problem was a weird draft in the room, not the broken window. But therapy has this slow drip effect. Week after week, patterns started to show up. His bad with money turned into secret debt that he'd hidden for years. Her overreacting about his ex turned into him still checking the ex's socials daily. The therapist gently pointed out that OP overfunctioned, taking on all the emotional labor while he coasted. It wasn't dramatic like catching someone with a second family. It was worse in a way because it was ordinary, constant erosion. One night, after a session where the therapist asked him to take responsibility and he literally shrugged, OP went home, sat on the edge of the bed, and realized something that hit harder than any fight. Therapy was working, but only on her. She was growing, naming her needs, learning boundaries. He was using the hour to gather new vocabulary to dismiss her with. "You're just projecting" became his new favorite phrase. That was the moment she saw the split screen. In one version of her life, she keeps dragging him to that office, hoping the right arrangement of words will finally flip a switch. In the other, she stops trying to fix someone who doesn't want to be fixed and uses all that effort on herself instead. Which one would actually help you drift off to sleep at night? So she did the scariest, calmest thing. In their next session, when the therapist asked what they wanted out of this, OP said, "I think I want to talk about how to leave." He blinked, like someone had changed the music mid-song. He got defensive, then teary, then promised he'd really try this time. But the spell was broken. Therapy hadn't saved the relationship. It had saved her from it. She moved out a month later. There was grief, sure. The first night alone in a smaller apartment with no familiar footsteps in the hallway felt like standing in a quiet after years of low-grade static. But there was also this new, steady hum of self-respect. She could finally hear her own thoughts. She kept individual therapy, unpacked why she'd stayed so long, and slowly built a life that felt comfortable instead of chaotic. And here's the warm, fuzzy feeling of justice being served part. 6 months later, he texted her a long paragraph about how he'd started therapy on his own and finally understood what she'd been saying. Karma really does come full circle, but not always in time to save the couple. Sometimes just in time to prove you weren't crazy. Because the real twist, OP isn't our only narrator tonight whose solution ends up being the breakup itself. And the next confession takes that idea and cranks it up to a level you would not believe. No contact and starting over, the long quiet after the storm. So this next one isn't about dramatic revenge at all. It's about the quiet kind of justice you only notice months later, when you realize you finally slept through the night without dreaming about them. Welcome back to the channel, and if you haven't already, grab your favorite blanket, because this one starts in a tiny, glowing rectangle. OP's phone screen. It's 1:37 a.m. That weird hour where the world is silent, but your brain is throwing a full-on party. Their ex has just sent a wall of text, paragraphs of blame, a few recycled apologies, and then the kicker: "If you block me, you're proving you never really loved me." OP is sitting on the floor of their apartment, back against the couch, music off for once. The only sound is the fridge humming and their own heartbeat in their ears. They scroll, reread, feel that familiar rush of adrenaline and guilt and exhaustion. This is the third meltdown this week, the 100th since the breakup. Hidden debts, secret messages to an ex, emotional affairs they swore didn't count, all of it had come out in waves. Every time OP tried to leave, the ex would escalate. Love bombing, threats, crying, promises of therapy. Tonight, something in OP just clicks. Not loudly, more like a light switch in a quiet room. They open the settings, tap the name, and hit block. Then they do it again on every app. Instagram, Snapchat, email filters, even that old messaging account they forgot they had. No dramatic speech, no last word monologue, just a thumb pressing down and a relationship disappearing into silence. And that silence is weird. At first it's cozy, like when the upstairs neighbor finally stops the late night music and stomping. No more phone vibrations jolting them out of half sleep. No more dread when a notification pops up, but it's also eerie. The chaos was a constant soundtrack. Without it, the nights feel too big, too empty. OP keeps checking their phone anyway. Phantom notifications tingling in their brain. So they start small. They change their route home so it doesn't pass the bar where their ex liked to accidentally run into them. They move the couch to the other wall, take down the photos, buy a cheap lamp that's more their style than the moody, dramatic lighting their ex insisted on. One weekend, they repaint a wall. Another, they dig out an old sketchbook and realize their hands remember how to draw. They text a friend they haven't seen in a year because the ex didn't like her energy, and end up laughing over coffee until the sky turns that deep, sleepy blue. Emotionally, it's not a straight line. Some nights, OP misses the person they thought they had, and uncomfortably, they miss the drama too. The intense fights, the tearful makeups, the feeling of being the main character in some messy romance movie. Then there are mornings where they wake up, realize their first thought wasn't about checking someone else's mood, and they feel lighter in a way that's hard to describe. 3 months in, they notice they can listen to music again without every lyric being a dagger. 6 months in, their apartment looks different. New plants, a bookshelf they built badly but proudly, art from local markets instead of the ex's aesthetic prints. A full year later, OP is in bed, scrolling Reddit on a quiet night, Minecraft ambience on in the background to help them drift off to sleep. They stumble across their own old post in r/relationships, the one where they were asking if blocking their ex would be too extreme, worrying they were being unfair. Reading it feels like looking at a stranger. That version of them is so small, so busy explaining away red flags, so convinced that love means tolerating constant anxiety. OP actually laughs, softly, at their own line about how at least a drama means they care. Now, their days are kind of boring. Work, hobbies, friends, cozy evenings rearranging their space. And boring has never felt so safe. Karma really does come full circle here, but it's not a big cinematic takedown. It's OP realizing that the real revenge, if you can even call it that, is building a life so peaceful that the old chaos wouldn't even fit anymore. And if you're wondering what happens when the toxic ex refuses to stay gone, our next confession is exactly what it looks like when no contact gets tested in the wildest way possible. Pattern interrupt. A tiny, wholesome relationship win. But before we get to no contact being stress tested like a cheap phone charger, I want to hit pause for a second and zoom in on something a little softer. Not every wild confession ends in a breakup bonfire. Some of them, somehow, turn into a repair job that actually holds. So, grab your favorite blanket, get comfortable, and let's dive into a tiny, wholesome detour. Think of it as a palate cleanser between all the emotional jump scares. OP and her husband had been married 5 years. Cozy apartment, shared playlists for late night drives, the usual, we survived assembling IKEA furniture together kind of love. She thought he was just kind of bad with money, a little scattered. Then, one afternoon, she opened the mail while he was in the shower and found 3 separate credit card statements, all maxed, all in his name. The total looked like a phone number. This is the point in most of our stories where someone starts planning revenge, right? Secret accounts, quiet quitting the relationship, maybe a dramatic exit with suitcases at midnight. Instead, she waited, heart racing, hands shaking, but she waited until he came out, sat him down at the kitchen table, and just slid the envelopes over. No yelling, no sarcasm. Just, I need you to tell me the truth, all of it, right now. Here's the pattern interrupt. He didn't gaslight, deflect, or blame her Amazon orders. He broke. He admitted he'd been hiding debt from before they even met, terrified she'd leave if she knew how bad it was. He kept taking on more to fix the old numbers, like bailing water into a sinking boat. He said the ugliest part out loud. I lied to you because I wanted you to still think I was good. She owned her side too. She apologized for brushing off money talks as too stressful, for letting him handle everything because it helped her sleep at night. Two people at one small table, both saying, I messed up, without turning it into a competition. Then came the concrete stuff. They booked a financial counselor before they even told his parents. They made a shared spreadsheet, every card, every balance, every due date. Sunday mornings, instead of doom scrolling, they'd sit with coffee and go through it together. Not glamorous, but very warm, fuzzy feeling of justice being served. Except the villain was the debt and the secrecy, not each other. They started therapy too. Not because they were on the edge of divorce, but because they didn't want to get there. Sessions about trust, about why hiding feels safer than being honest, about setting boundaries with in-laws who thought money talk was impolite. My favorite tiny moment, months later, he got a bonus from work. Instead of surprising her with a big purchase, he walked in, waved the pay stub like a party invitation, and said, "Want to help me decide where every dollar goes?" She cried. Not because of the money, but because there were no more shadows. And look, not every relationship can or should be saved. Some of the stories tonight are going to prove that in high definition. But every once in a while, people actually do the work. They tell the whole truth, they sit in the discomfort, and they build something stronger on the other side. So as we head back into the chaos, remember, the goal isn't to fear relationships. It's to spot the red flags early, value honesty when you see it, and know when effort is real. Speaking of chaos, our next confession is what happens when the secret isn't debt. It's an entire second life. Soft landing outro, letting the stories fade into the background. An entire second life. And now, as that chaos starts to settle, I want to slowly pull us back out of it together. We've wandered through some truly unhinged territory tonight. Secret families tucked away in another state. In-laws turning weddings and baby announcements into their own personal drama party. Phones being snooped. Petty revenge executed with scary precision. And those quiet exits where someone just stops fighting and slips out of the relationship for good. If your brain feels a little full right now, that's completely okay. You were never supposed to catalog every detail, remember every username, or keep track of who lived in which apartment with which secret kid. These stories are here like low, steady background music, something engaging enough to keep your thoughts from spiraling, but gentle enough to help you drift off to sleep without you needing to do anything at all. So if you're still awake with me, this is your invitation to take one last deep breath. In through your nose, slow and comfortable, and out through your mouth, even slower. Go ahead and adjust your blanket or grab your favorite blanket if it's migrated to the floor. Wiggle your shoulders into the pillow, let your jaw unclench, and just quietly tell your body, hey, it's safe now. The wild confessions are winding down. You can finally relax. On screen, the Minecraft world is going to keep doing its calm little thing. No jump scares, no sudden music spikes, no surprise creeper explosions right next to your ear. Just soft footsteps, maybe a door opening here and there. A bit of gentle mining, some cozy torches flickering against the night. Even if the footage loops, it'll fade and repeat in that same sleepy rhythm, so nothing yanks you back awake. We've covered people discovering second spouses, hidden debts, and secret TikTok lives. We've watched karma really does come full circle for cheaters, controlling parents, and those boundary-stomping in-laws who think your relationship is a group project. But now those stories can slide into the background, like distant conversations at a party you're not part of. You just hear the soft vibrations of voices, not the words. If your eyes are heavy, you don't have to listen for the next twist. You don't have to wait for the warm, fuzzy feeling of justice being served. You can let the rest of the video play like a long, cozy exhale while you drift. And if you find this helps, remember, this is a space you can come back to on any night you need it. Whenever your mind is too loud, whenever you want calm visuals and contained chaos at a safe distance, welcome back to the channel, and let's dive into sleep instead of more drama. Quiet recap. What these unhinged stories really show us. So as all these unhinged confessions float past your screen, there's this funny thing that happens. The details are wild, the drama is loud, but underneath, the pattern is actually pretty quiet and simple. Most of what we've heard tonight, once you strip away the surprise second husbands, the secret debts, the in-laws trying to sleep in the marital bed like it's a weird family sleepover, comes down to a few basic things: honesty, respect, boundaries, and what happens when those go missing. A partner hiding an entire other apartment and family isn't just plot twist, it's a total absence of honesty. A fiancé who says your disabled sister can't come to the wedding isn't just picky, they're showing you exactly how little they respect you. And then there are the boundaries, the snoop phones, the fake accounts, the year-long location tracking just in case someone cheats. Those aren't quirky little habits. They're lines being crossed over and over. Studies say about 1 in 5 people admit to snooping, but when you hear it in these stories, with all the context and the late-night music and the vibrating anxiety in the background, it hits differently. You can actually feel where the line should have been. At the same time, not everyone in these stories stayed stuck. Some people made awful choices, sure. Some stayed for money, or because the apartment was convenient, or because the family pressure was louder than their own thoughts. But a lot of them eventually chose themselves. They went no contact with chaotic in-laws. They called off weddings a week before the big party. They quietly saved up, waited until the timing was safe, and then just left. No revenge montage, no dramatic confrontation in front of the whole restaurant. Just a calm exit and that warm, fuzzy feeling of justice being served to themselves. If anything in these stories nudged you a little, maybe it's noticing financial red flags earlier, or realizing that jokes about tracking your phone aren't actually funny, or just feeling more honest with yourself about what you want, you can take that with you. And if none of it fits your life right now, that's completely fine too. You can let these confessions pass through like a strange dream you half remember in the morning. There's no homework here. You don't have to text anyone, break up with anyone, or change your entire life because of a YouTube video. You can just lie back, grab your favorite blanket if you haven't already, listen to the soft Minecraft sounds and the slow camera pans over a cozy little block apartment, and let the rest of the stories help you drift off to sleep. And hey, whether you've been hanging on every word or you zoned out 10 minutes in and are only catching this in that floaty in-between place, thank you for spending part of your night here with me. Welcome back to the channel whenever you need that reminder that karma really does come full circle, because the next confession might hit a little closer to home than you expect. Soft CTA. If you're awake tomorrow, here's your next step, because the next confession might hit a little closer to home than you expect. If you just happen to still be awake right now, hanging out in that dim little cocoon with the soft Minecraft music and the slow blocky footsteps in the background, I've got a tiny favor you can put on tomorrow's to-do list. Not for right this second, not when your eyes are heavy and your brain is doing that floaty slideshow of random images. Tomorrow when you're more awake and the night doesn't feel quite so long, come back to this video and leave a comment with one story that really stuck with you. And whether it was a red flag or a full-on deal breaker in your book, maybe it was the partner who quietly racked up secret debt until the mail outed them, or the fiance who thought banning a disabled sister from the wedding was a tiny request. Maybe it was the mom who slowly migrated from the guest room to the couple's bed like it was just another room in her own apartment. Whatever it was, I'm curious where your line is. And I think you'll be surprised how many people share that same little internal nope moment. If, when you do that, you also feel like tapping the like button or subscribing, that kind of quiet support really does help more sleepy people find this cozy chaos. I know. Revenge and unhinged confessions at bedtime sounds counterintuitive. But there's something about that warm, fuzzy feeling of justice being served that helps you drift off to sleep, knowing you're not the only one who notices the weird vibrations in a relationship before the whole thing collapses. No pressure to do any of that right now, though. Tonight, your only job is to be comfortable. And if listening stirred up your own story, the secret second family, the surprise in-law invasion, the "oh, you've been tracking my location for a year" moment, you can always send it in anonymously. There's usually a link or an email in the description where you can share those unhinged relationship stories for future episodes. You don't have to be a writer. Just tell it the way you tell a friend at a very quiet, very sleepy after party. If you wake up in the middle of the night and your brain wants to replay everything, remember you can always restart this video or wander over to another long story time on the channel. Welcome back to the channel whenever you need company. I'll be here with more cozy stories, more wild revenge, and more reminders that karma really does come full circle. For now though, that's enough chaos for one night. Let's dive into the silence together. Unclench your jaw, let your shoulders sink into whatever you're lying on, and let the last of this audio fade out like a lullaby. Sleep well. Good night.